Part 191. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1904. In the area very close to the center of the Milky Way, there are various gray areas between star fields. This is normal. Jia Yan has already encountered more than one such place, such as in the stellar battlefield, in the northern starfield, inside the Orion Arm. There are many places where such gray areas exist. There are also many such zones here, even more than in the outside world. Because there are many strong people here, the declining territory lord level may find a gray area to hide, waiting for a comeback. But more often than not, the gray area is deliberately created by the adjacent star regions, because the two major star regions need such a buffer, and then also need such a place to conduct certain transactions. So by default, these gray areas appear, like mushrooms after a rain. Puff. A shadow of a small creature, not too big, flew out of the subspace on a single-person aircraft. The creature inside this aircraft is none other than Jia Yan. It's just that at this time, he didn't appear in his true form. After all, he is quite tall in person, and most people will know that he is a galaxy-level existence when they see him. If someone knows that a galaxy-level person is coming, it will definitely attract attention. So Jia Yan used his clone. Most powerful people will use their clones under ordinary circumstances, and it is very inconvenient to do things with their real body. This clone of Jia Yan is a clone of the Earthling Jia Yan. Of course, Jia Yan has made many clones of this kind now. Because of their small size, they are convenient to carry around. Although their strength is mediocre, it is also because of their convenience. It turned out to be pretty good. It's just that it's a bit too small, so it's easy to be looked down upon when encountering creatures that don't recognize the clone's strength, and then get into trouble. For example, when Jia Yan took the lifeboat released from the Aditha and arrived at a planet near a star, 3 great lord-level creatures came out together. Oh! There is actually a small creature sitting on the lifeboat. Could it be that we rescued you? Ha ha ha, boy, you are really brave. You can't see your strength clearly, you can't be a creature without strength. For such a small person, he must not have much property. Okay, now I will take you to the planet below. Come on, and then your lifeboat will be ours. This boat is not bad and should be able to sell for some money. The 3 venerable level creatures seemed not to care about the strength of Jia Yan's clone at all. They felt quite satisfied looking at the carefully crafted lifeboat in the northern star territory. Although to them, this kind of small ship is just a palm-sized toy, there are some creatures who are willing to buy this kind of ship, especially some creatures and children who like small toys, and they can show off by buying it back. In short, they felt that this creature should not dare to fight back. If it dared to fight back or refused them, then they would kill it. Although there are still general laws in this gray star field, killing is much more relaxed than in ordinary star fields, especially weak people who have no one to support them. Killing in the inaccessible starry sky, no one will take care of it. 3 of you, I don't want to cause trouble, so please get out of the way. Jia Yan was a little helpless while riding on the lifeboat. If the other clones were not too big to carry, Jia Yan would bring some bigger clones. In such a situation, people would not dare to rob him. Let us give way. You really think you are a strong man, ha ha ha. If you keep talking nonsense, we will kill you. The 3 noble level creatures all sneered. Then, one of them took action. Since Jia Yan refused to get off the lifeboat, they used energy to suppress him and take him out. Whether he was strong enough to barely survive in a vacuum was none of their business. In other words, they are prepared to kill. Puff. A brainwave force suppressed the lifeboat. Oh, venerable. Jia Yan was in the lifeboat and smiled helplessly. Then, a burst of power burst out from the surface of his body. Boom. This power far exceeds the opponent's strength. Half half-star level. In an instant, the three venerable level creatures were completely shocked. Such a small creature could actually be a half-star creature? You must know that although they are also venerables and are one step away from the half-star level, this step is definitely an unimaginable distance. Semi-star level existences can become small bosses in certain forces. And they are just handymen at best and can't even lead a team. Of course, this is because they are the bosses in this starry sky, in the Orion arm, at the venerable level. In short, this terrifying half-star level power exploded, and the three great venerable level creatures suddenly fell into silence, unable to move at all, and they did not dare to speak. Okay, now you know, get out of here. Jia Yan looked at it angrily, and in front of him were three venerable level creatures who were afraid to speak and behaved as well as puppies. He knew that such a strong person had no integrity and was destined to fail to achieve stardom in the future. Even those who robber have to show their dignity, but how can they be suppressed by a strong man and turn into a little pug? Yes, yes. The three venerable level creatures, as if they had been granted amnesty, nodded and bowed one by one, and fled around the lifeboat. It's so scary. How can this half-star existence be so small? It should be a special race. There are so many races in the starry sky. It is normal to have one or two special races. Sci, you have to look at good people for future robberies, and there are many opportunities in the gray area here, but the possibility of encountering a strong person is too high, so you will die one day. The three noble level creatures were all sighing. Jia Yan ignored these three venerable creatures, quickly drove the lifeboat, and crashed towards a planet not far away that showed signs of life and civilization. This planet is also the planet that the three venerable level creatures want Jia Yan to enter. Jia Yan also heard what they said from a distance. In fact, they had no idea what kind of semi-star they encountered, but a super powerful being who had reached the galaxy level. You know, although there are many more galaxy-class people in this starry sky, they are still very powerful. Regardless of whether Jia Yan comes from the rural star field, the galaxy class is the galaxy class. If it weren't for Jia Yan just now, he thought that there should be no extraneous matters, otherwise none of them would have any complaints if they were killed for being disrespectful to a galaxy-level person. Of course, no one would dare to complain. The mid-level galaxy has already surpassed a large number of powerful people. Those who dare to talk to the galaxy level are all galaxy level or above. This gray area is indeed the same as what was marked on my map. It is still a gray area. If it was annexed by the surrounding star field, there should not be such a domineering lord. Just because of the appearance of those three venerables, Jia Yan was sure that he had not picked the wrong place. Get out of that lifeboat. When Jia Yan was on the lifeboat and waiting in line above the planet to enter the orbit of the planet, a domineering voice sounded from behind him. He was helpless again. Didn't he release a semi-star level aura? Why do people always come to provoke me? He was just worried that if it were released, it would attract attention. But half-star level is nothing. At least in this star field, half-star level has a low status and is only a middle-level existence. Of course, even the middle level is enough. Puff. When Jia Yan released the power of brain waves, it caused the interference of starry air potential that could only be achieved by half a star. This half-star level lord, please come in front. I can't see Taishan. The high-level creature behind him suddenly became frightened. There were bursts of laughter all around. For the creatures here, this kind of thing is actually common. It's just that none of them have ever seen such a tiny half-star creature. The creature that screamed just now also saw the lifeboat in front of it, and the creature in it was so small, so it wanted to take advantage. It's a pity that it fell on the iron plate. Jia Yan had no intention of talking to him and ignored him. Next, he simply stopped suppressing his own strength and released a faint half-star level of pressure, which made all the creatures around him that were less than half-star level become somewhat silent and did not dare to approach. That's good, At least it's less disturbing. Are you, half-star? Okay, go in. When Jia Yan passed the pass, the half-star creature sitting inside the pass did not check Jia Yan's ID at all, and only said something to let him in. Whether you have a certificate or not, it doesn't matter in this gray star field. Things like certificates are only binding and effective for the weak. As for the strong, they will not care. Half-star level is not that strong, but it is just barely enough to reach this threshold. Thanks. Jia Yan thanked him and got back into the lifeboat. In fact, nothing was beyond his expectation. Because these things would be similar in other starry skies. If a star and a half comes within the Orion arm, any planet will give the green light, of course, unless it is a military secret, or it is a planet like Earth that needs serious protection. In short, the planet in front of us has no military secrets, and there is nothing worthy of protection, so Jia Yan, a semi-star powerhouse, was allowed to enter. If he uses his true body to show his true strength. On the contrary, it is very likely that it will be difficult to enter this planet at all. After all, the arrival of such a powerful existence will definitely arouse the vigilance of a large number of strong people. Oh! The technology here is actually so advanced. Jia Yan took a lifeboat and descended to the planet below. He immediately discovered that this planet in the gray area was extremely developed. Although there is a sense of chaos, chaotic things are happening everywhere on the planet, and advancement means advancement. Flying cars are everywhere in the sky, often colliding with each other. The house can also be moved by itself, but it is too free. Some homeowners have quarreled with others and even had bloody conflicts because of the problem of moving the house. This feeling of being both advanced and chaotic is very contradictory. In fact, it can be seen that the things are good, but the people who use them are not. This does not actually mean that this planet is advanced, it means that this planet, or even the star field around this gray zone, is advanced. A glimpse of the leopard shows that even such a chaotic gray area has such advanced technology, so how luxurious and advanced is the inside of a normal ordinary star field? No matter how many things there are, the purpose of my coming here is to see if there are normal channels to obtain the star core. If not, then look for information to see if there is any chance to obtain the star core from the nearby stars. Jia Yan came to this planet actually to find information about the star core. And each of these information is extremely valuable. If he wants to buy a star core, it may even be extremely expensive. Jia Yan never expected that he could purchase something like a star core through normal channels. Because the value of the star core is too high, even in the area close to the center of the galaxy, it should be something that everyone wants among the powerful. How can a sudden outsider like Jia Yan buy it? People have consumed it internally, and it would be strange if you, an outsider with no background, could buy it. In fact, his main purpose is to get some information. Here, may I ask where you can buy energy items in this city? Jia Yan was driving a survival boat and suddenly stopped in front of a flying car. Inside this flying car, there are sky-level creatures dozens of meters tall. When he saw a small airship actually daring to intercept him, this heaven-level creature became furious and wanted to beat him up. But as soon as he felt it and knew that there was actually a semi-star level creature sitting in the survival boat, he quickly calmed down his emotions and put on a smile. Your Excellency, there are quite a few energy selling points around. I don't know which one you want to go to. The biggest family. It's like this. Are you from an outer city, or from an alien planet? I'll give you a map, and then point out the route to you. Do you think that's okay? Of course, thank you for your help. Where there? When the speed car that was released by Jia Yan and almost fled away, there was an additional set of data in Jia Yan's lifeboat. That is the map of the city and the guiding path given by the other party. That's right. I should get some local information first, such as connecting to the internet and downloading some information. Jia Yan thought of what he should do first. Unfortunately, he turned on the network function of the survival boat, and then found that the signal could not be connected at all. There is a technological gap between the two parties, and details such as the signal module are incorrect, so there is no way they can connect. Forget it, I'll look for some basic information about intelligence and geographical knowledge later. After I find it, it's best to update the geographical knowledge of the Etissa. Jia Yan walked blindly in the starry sky for hundreds of light years. He was fully aware of the important role of information, so he was not going to delay time. In addition to looking for energy, the other point was to update his basic knowledge. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1905. It is easy to update basic knowledge. After all, this kind of knowledge that everyone knows is definitely easy to find. The energy sales point is this. When Jia Yan found a few small stores, he went in and bought some knowledge brain chips, as well as some useful maps and unpopular knowledge chips, using the common energy or raw stones in the Interstellar as a settlement method, and then he found a store energy sales point. The energy sales point, or should I say, is the largest store in this small city after he landed. There are so many people here. Because the entire city, or even the entire planet, must practice cultivation, and everyone needs energy, it is foreseeable how popular this business will be. It's really big. It's the tallest building in the whole city. Jia Yan walked to the energy sales point and saw that the building was nearly 500 meters high, which was higher than the buildings next to it. Of course, this is still a small city sales point. Even the venerable creatures are considered good here. Half-star creatures will feel very small when they come here, and they may even not be able to get in at all. They will find the largest energy sales place in a larger city or even the planet to trade. Jia Yan did not want to find something for him to practice here. For a galaxy-level being, the resources for cultivation are really not that easy to find. Jia Yan would not hesitate to do it if he could buy it or grab it, but the problem was that he couldn't grab it even if he wanted to. He came here just to see if he had any information. Go to the first floor of the sales point. It was said to be one floor, but after entering, I found that the first floor was 100 meters high, allowing certain venerable level creatures to enter. And within this 100-meter high layer, there are higher and lower layers, in which earth level, heaven level, etc. creatures enter suitable areas according to their respective sizes. As for Jia Yan's clone, which was the size of an earthling, it could only enter the level of earth-level creatures. But he refused to go in. He just got on the super-huge elevator and walked up with several behemoths dozens of meters high. On the way, a creature dozens of meters tall kept looking at Jia Yan, seemingly surprised that such a little guy dared to go to the upper level that they could only go to. But Jia Yan didn't care what they saw. Although his clone was not strong, to these venerable level creatures, it was definitely extremely powerful. It was half-star level. When it exploded in strength, it could explode at least star level. In terms of strength, there are only one or two creatures on this planet that can fight against it. That's right, there are star-level existences on this planet, even more than one, there are two star-level existences. Jia Yan's own true body is in the subspace of the outside world, and he has already described their details clearly. The clone was sent down just to understand the customs of this planet. If he wanted information, Jia Yan would get it without asking, and no one would know. Humph, such a creature can't feel your strength. Can you enter the second level? The creature who had been looking at Jia Yan for a long time finally said this. The elevator is very slow. In fact, it is not as good as the strong ones flying by themselves, but everyone enjoys this feeling. Just because they enjoyed this feeling, they were naturally unhappy when they saw a small creature next to them. It didn't look like a strong person. Ah! Jia Yan's clone let out a long sigh. I thought you could hold back your words. This venerable level creature snorted coldly, and was about to continue sarcastically, even to give such a small animal a little color. Bang! His head exploded directly. Well. The surrounding creatures were all frightened and confused. Just now, Jia Yan suddenly burst out with super venerable level strength. A half-star powerhouse. The faces of several creatures changed slightly, and they quickly stood away, their facial expressions changing to respectful ones. How about I kill this guy here, what's the problem? Jia Yan looked aside calmly at the heaven-level creature. This heaven-level creature is a female creature who works as an elevator attendant here. No problem, he was the one who wanted to provoke you first, so he deserves to die. The female creature quickly moved her claws, as if she was afraid that Jia Yan would also kill her. That's good. I'll go up later. I have something I want to ask. Can you be my exclusive waiter? Jia Yan nodded and asked directly. I'm just an elevator, no, sir, okay, I'll be your exclusive waiter. The female creature was frightened. When she heard that Jia Yan wanted her to be a waiter, she definitely didn't want to, but when she turned around and saw the eyes of this small but powerful man, she nodded quickly. Half-star level. The venerable level creatures on one side looked at this tiny creature with half-star strength, almost half-star level, full of expectations. They are also at the venerable level, but they don't dare to be arrogant at all here. But a half-star strong person actually dared to kill other customers in a place where strong people must be guarding him, and he was extremely domineering. Even now, the strong person at the sales office has not appeared. This shows that the strong men at the sales office have acquiesced in this behavior. As the venerable level, they are only one step away from the half-star level. If they reach the half-star level, will they be so majestic? In fact, these creatures are actually wrong. Why didn't the strong man at the sales office show up? People are most afraid of things like this when they open a store here to do business. Even if it is a store in a gray area, the more it is like this, the more safety must be paid attention to. Otherwise, customers who come to these stores to buy things will be in trouble in the store. If they were robbed, what kind of business would they do? In fact, after Jia Yan took action just now, the power of a half-star existence was quickly emitted from a distance in this store. But before he could reach Jia Yan, the clone released a brainwave power that chopped the opponent's brainwave power into pieces in an instant. Although they are also half-star level, their research on the power of brainwaves is completely different. After the other party touched him like this, he knew that he would never be Jia Yan's opponent. He immediately stopped and did not dare to show his face again. 10 minutes later, Jia Yan was treated as the most valuable guest and arrived at the top floor of the store. There are dedicated venerable level experts who serve him here. However, Jia Yan still asked the female creature to explain. He didn't have any idea, he just did it as he thought it was appropriate. A strong man doesn't have to pay so much attention to it. Jia Yan is already at the galaxy level. On such a small planet, if he still wants to be timid, he is nothing but a strong man. He is already low-key enough. With what he is doing now, no one will regard him as a galaxy-level being. After all, the difference between a semi-star level and a galaxy-level being is not a million miles away. Sir, the energy you mentioned is really not available here. After listening to Jia Yan's request, the group of strong men on the opposite side all felt a little headache. This being who killed a venerable level creature actually asked for the cultivation resources that every star level creature wanted as soon as he opened his mouth. They were just a little energy vending store that had this stuff. Even the strong man behind him is only half-star level. If there are things that can be used at star level, he will snatch them away immediately. Oh, don't you have any of these? Jia Yan was slightly disappointed. What he reported was actually a second-level energy item, which was a material suitable for stellar-level cultivation. In this star field, The accent is still a little different from the common language in the Orion arm. Just now, he wondered if he had made a mistake. He took out the spoken language book in the book and compared it, but the result was still no. It would be very easy for a strong person to learn things like accent. After all, they are strong enough, their brain waves are powerful, and their brains are easy to use. So if you want to learn the spoken language of this star field, you don't need to do much. Energy. When Jia Yan heard that the other party didn't even have star-level cultivation materials, he was disappointed and felt normal. Because it is so difficult for strong people to find resources. The creatures sitting here are only half star level. It is normal not to have star level supplies. Then there are no star level ones, let alone galaxy level ones. I guess they have never seen such treasures as star cores. Jia Yan pondered for a while, and then he felt that he still had to ask directly. After pondering for a while, Jia Yan spoke when the atmosphere was a bit weird and depressing. Facing a circle of behemoths dozens of meters taller than him, as if looking at a house, he asked with a hint of majesty. To be honest, I am actually a member of a certain outside force. Now the powerful members of my family want to obtain the star core. Do you know the relevant clues? In other words, is there anyone in your starry sky who can obtain the star core? The place. Star core. How can there be a star core? These few were shocked. Star core, that is the core of the planet. Every planet has only one nuclear star. Moreover, some planets may not have star cores. The planets that give birth to star cores will also be larger planets. If we want to use metaphors, at least they must be as big as the moon. Of course, there are exceptions, such as the one that Jia Yan swallowed last time. That one, the core of the star is that of an asteroid. Star cores born from larger planets have better energy and can be better utilized. However, the birth of something like a star core requires the destruction of the planet, or the use of powerful methods and technological means to remove the star core from the planet. Applicable ones are generally galaxy-level beings. Star-level ones cannot be used. They will die as soon as they are used. Because the energy is too terrifying, and even because of the high gravity of the condensed core, if the star-level one is close to it, it will be attracted to the star core. If you can't move, then you're still sucking. Therefore, only galaxy-level beings can absorb this kind of material. No. Jia Yan pondered, and the other party's performance was actually what he expected. Even if there are any clues about the star core nearby, it is estimated that there will be no news in such a small store. What's more, even if people know it, it's normal not to tell them. After all, Jia Yan is an outsider, and he still talks about the forces behind it. This kind of thing involves too much. If they reveal any information that shouldn't be revealed, they will definitely be in trouble. Sir, do the forces behind you have galaxy-level existences? A venerable-level creature was a little frightened. Good. Jia Yan didn't hide anything and nodded directly. But he still put a layer of lock on this information in order to prevent it from causing too much trouble. But don't think so much. Galaxy-level existences are so terrifying. In fact, I am just a small out-of-town clerk. Lord Galaxy-level existences are still in our power base. They are more than hundreds of millions of kilometers away from here. It is impossible to fight with 8 poles, it's irrelevant. Oh, that's fine. We thought Xingju had already arrived. Haha, that's right. There are also Xing-level experts in our gray star field. A strange Xing-level person has arrived. They have already arrived. It's time to take action. The venerable man sighed. It's right to think about it. If a strange galaxy-level existence came, a war would have started. But he didn't know at all that Jia Yan was really here, and he was indeed a galaxy-level survivor. It's just that in the process of coming, he has been moving inside the deep space of subspace. When he reaches that deep subspace, he can't be said to be an ordinary galaxy-level creature. Even domain lord-level creatures cannot be detected at all. The 10-dimensional space is so amazing. Of course, it also shows how powerful the Edessa is. Anyway, you don't have any information, right? Well, I'll leave first. If you need anything in the future, I will come to you. Jia Yan smiled and left the store directly. He never thought that he would find something on his first search. He doesn't even plan to have any information on this planet. Star cores or related materials are not just cabbage on the roadside. Information can be found on any habitable planet. That is a joke. Of course, sometimes, information will suddenly appear, but the opportunity has not arrived. This habitable planet is one of about 8,000 to 9,000 habitable planets in this dense land of stars. If you really want to find it, there are many places you can ask. After feeling some knowledge, Jia Yan went to Shiyuan and took a breath silently. This was the first time in his life that he searched everywhere for an important energy with such great fanfare. I had an encounter with Relancy once before, but that time there was actually a reason, which was to get Relancy to get information. This time I was really looking for it, but unfortunately, I couldn't find it. This is because I am an evolved beast. Most of the time during my training, I can use the evolved beast's innate ability to absorb energy to convert any energy into training power. If I want to be like other strong people, I have to do it for myself along the way. It's a headache to match the cultivation energy. I guess I can cultivate to half-star level now, which is considered a good speed. Jia Yan sighed. Suddenly, something clicked in his mind. Yes, I am actually an evolved beast, and the advantage of an evolved beast is that it can absorb very complex power and use it for its own use. Why don't I try it and see if there is a unique way of cultivation for me? Please remember the first domain name of this book. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1906. When an idea is born, many related thoughts will emerge. Jia Yan believes that he does not need to stick to the tradition of cultivation. Because he himself is not a traditional strong man at all. Not to mention that he is an evolved beast. The way he acquires energy through cultivation is different from that of ordinary strong men. Just say that he is a practitioner of yin and yang. Even his path is different from that of ordinary strong men. How can we talk about tradition? Once you think about it, a large number of fantasy-like thoughts will appear. Jia Yan has never been a person who listens to earnest teachings. This is related to the fact that he was reincarnated as a human on Earth and thought about cultivation on his own from the beginning. My mind is always full of fantastic ideas. I think I can try going to some deserted planets and swallowing items directly. Since reaching the galaxy level, I have controlled the Orion arm. After that, I have never tried impure energy. Like the week when I was young, I was still taking in certain minerals, but in the later stages, I relied almost entirely on precious resources for cultivation, and I neglected to find the feeling of evolving beasts to absorb energy from low-end energy. He left his clone on this planet, but his real body was high in the sky, gradually moving. They say they are looking for small planets, but this idea is not that simple. In this strong star field, even if it is just a gray star field, because of the high population density and the large number of strong people, there are almost no big stars, and no one lives on them. And I rashly went to destroy those big stars. It is easy to attract the attention of other powerful people. This is a very bad thing for me. After all, Jia Yan is new here and is unfamiliar with everything here. It feels like there is such a dense population, but there are not so many in the Orion arm. If the Orion arm had such a large population living in it, the Orion arm would have become a large star area with a large population. Therefore, he cannot look at things in this star field based on his impressions in remote areas. Since there are not that many big stars for me to test, I will choose some smaller stars to try. He was sure of his thoughts. Jia Yan's real body constantly shuttles between the first and second dimensions of subspace in the starry sky. He entered the second dimension because he knew that his subspace talent might be exposed in front of ordinary strong people. One-time subspace flight is actually close to the normal starry sky of the universe. When flying over the planets where some powerful people exist, or flying over the lair of some big forces, it is easy to be discovered by them. There may even be some kind of spaceship that flies over, and there are semi-star or star-level experts on it. As long as they have the relevant skills, they may find traces of Jia Yan. As a result, Jia Yan was unable to fly close to 1 degree within the subspace, and occasionally had to enter the 2nd degree, so that the weaker ones would not be able to sense it. This is also something that Jia Yan needs to adapt to. Although it is not difficult for him to do it the second time, it is not so convenient to actually observe the outside world from inside. So I always have to fly out to the outside world and observe whether there is a target I want outside. While his true body was flying and observing the outside world, his clone had been staying on that planet. "My lord, have I heard that you want to investigate energy matters?" Suddenly, Jia Yan's clone was walking aimlessly on the planet, and a voice stopped him. "Huh? Someone actually revealed my information." Jia Yan was slightly startled, but had nothing to be angry or afraid about, so he just turned around silently. The person who came was a creature at the pinnacle of the venerable world, approaching half a star level, only 1 step away. "Sir, you don't have to be surprised by my arrival. I just heard about you from a friend of mine, and I also know that you want to obtain huge energy. Well, tell me your reason for coming. As for your friends, since they have revealed my information, there is no need for them to stay alive." Jia Yan responded lightly. Hearing these words, the creature at the peak of the venerable was completely shocked. You know, he only dared to appear after hearing that this tiny creature was a half-star. After all, half-star level creatures are quite strong on this planet, but if they are not strong, they are not that strong, because there are many half-star level creatures on this planet. Moreover, there are 2-star level experts on the planet. For a planet, they are like people with the power of Ding Ding. Then he dared to appear because he believed that this strong man should not be so domineering. But he never expected that the second sentence of this strong man's conversation with him was that he wanted to kill those people with similar strength to him. "Haha, sir, my friend just wants to help you solve your problems, and he trusts me, so he mentioned you to me and asked you to show your respect." This venerable pinnacle creature did not dare to doubt whether Jia Yan was talking big words, but he quickly said good things to Jia Yan. It seemed that he was quite a good person. "Very good. You are eloquent. Let's do this. You just need to tell me your information. If you are satisfied, I won't kill those friends." This time, the other party was immediately confused. Because what he wanted to talk to Jia Yan was about selling information, but he never expected to get such an answer. If he said that he was selling information, then Jia Yan might kill that friend. If he said that he was not selling information, then why did he find Jia Yan? Did he send information for free? If you want to be a good person, there is no gain. Jia Yan looked at this venerable peak creature and couldn't help but feel a little funny. Speaking of which, he was also a little unhappy with the creature who mentioned himself to others. Although he didn't know who it was, he must be one of the sages at the energy sales point. Other creatures should not dare to tell his information. So he just used this statement to scare this venerable peak creature, but the other party took it a little too seriously. Of course, if the information told by the other party is indeed useless, then Jia Yan will not feel the need to let go of the person who revealed his information, and he can even kill all the creatures present at the time in one go. The majesty of a galaxy-level creature is worth countless human lives? Okay, I don't want your free information either. Tell me. If it's worth my effort, then you will get the reward you deserve. Jia Yan said angrily directly. At this time, he did not hide anything and directly released a trace of aura that was not at the semi-star level. Although this momentum is not much and is not exaggerated, it is clear that it is definitely not something that a half-star can possess. Well. The opponent, the creature at the pinnacle of the venerable, suddenly had his eyes widened. What's the meaning? Isn't this being a half-star? But the overall feeling he gives is that he is half-star level, yes, but the energy he releases actually reaches at least a star-level sense of strength, and even faintly, it may not be possible to even have a star level. The illusion of strength. I don't know what kind of strength this is, at least it must be a star-level existence. Or, this creature is simply the clone of a super powerful person. Thinking of this venerable creature's heart beat slowly for half a beat. I originally thought that he was just a half-star who came to try his luck after getting information about a friend, but I never expected that he would turn out to be a terrifying and powerful man himself. He thought that the other party was a subordinate of a strong man. If he is a strong man himself, then he has a chance to make a fortune. Grown-ups. He quickly did not dare to say anything more. Because if he talks too much, it is unclear whether a clone who may be a stellar powerhouse will be impatient with him and lead to actions that are detrimental to him. If such a thing happens, he will be finished. It's better to just say it and give it a try. It's like this. I learned that a planet is not far away from us, 90 billion kilometers away. However, because it is located in our gray star field and borders the neighboring border galaxy, it is extremely far away from the star. It can be said that floating in the universe, there are almost no human traces, and I have ventured there in the early years. It seems that one of the planets has a lot of energy. Of course, that was a long time ago. Is that energy still there now? I don't know what forces used to mine minerals. The words spoken by this creature made Jia Yan even pause for a moment. Then, he nodded calmly. Very good. I can see that you produced a report worth studying. In this case, I will reward you with a benefit. Jia Yan's clone smiled, and then, a piece of energy material dozens of meters high surged out from the subspace around him. This is a source of energy. As for how to use it, it's up to you. Looking at the venerable creature with eyes wide open, Jia Yan smiled and retreated directly into the subspace. This information is not bad, 90 billion kilometers is not too far. According to the location reported by the other party, he knew that the direction where the real body was going was also that place. As for the rewards given, to be honest, because Jia Yan can no longer use the low-level cultivation energy, there is no use keeping those things. It is considered very good to use them as rewards or something. Everything is put to its best use, and the things that are useless to him are like treasures to the venerable level creatures. Unexpectedly, the other party's entire expression at this time was so full of laughter that he was about to cry. The clone will stay here for now, and the real body will go and take a look. Jia Yan's real body is also walking aimlessly, so why not go and see what's going on? As for the clone, he thought there was nothing wrong. It was better to enter the subspace and take a short rest, so as not to affect the flight of the real body. Jia Yan didn't know that the generous reward given by his avatar would quickly spread among the noble-level creatures on this planet. That creature was originally unwilling to tell the outside world that he had gained such a huge gain. Unfortunately, the one who had previously revealed the secret to him, after another confidential discussion with this excited friend, knew that he had gained so much. His friend actually used his information in exchange for such a terrifying huge amount of resources. After he wanted a piece of the pie but was rejected, he became angry and exposed the fact that Jia Yan had given such a huge reward. Next, the creature who received a large reward from Jia Yan went directly to the protection of a half-star strong man. It is unknown how much he paid. In short, Jia Yan's avatar was extremely generous, and the words of a subordinate of a super top powerhouse were quickly revealed. Many venerable level creatures seemed to have remembered their information, and each one was searching the streets to see if there were any small and powerful creatures. Unfortunately, Jia Yan's clone has already retreated into the subspace. Moreover, the real body has not even visited the first clue point. Even if there is new information, he will never go there again. In short, he got attention on this planet, but he had nothing to fear. Because it's just one planet. There are thousands of living planets in this gray star field, and each one has 1 or 2 star-level experts sitting on it. As a star-level star, he doesn't need to be afraid at all. What? Unless he has attracted the attention of a galaxy-level being. Galaxy-level beings would not pay any attention to urban legend-like events on a planet. It's tens of billions of kilometers away. For Jia Yan today, if he retreats into 7 or 8 degrees of subspace and travels quickly, it won't take long to arrive. Sure enough, this starry sky area is a chaotic place. There are no stars nearby at all. Jia Yan arrived in a dark starry sky. Although there are many stars in this area near the center of the Milky Way, and the energy is still very chaotic, in fact, it is impossible for stars to be directly crowded together, otherwise they would have collided long ago. The actual distance between stars is still there, and they are not close. Between these stars that are far apart, there are likely to be a large number of unknown planets, which are also so-called wandering planets. Even here, some of these planets have not been mined or utilized. Jia Yan felt that when he got here, the venerable peak creature who revealed the information was right. At least it was very possible for a planet without an owner and no one to mine it to appear in a place like this. Mining also depends on the cost. For example, for some minerals that are useless, the energy cost of going back and forth is not enough, so who will come? Even because everyone knows this, therefore, even if someone discovers the planets between the stars, no one will come to prospect for them. As a result, no one is interested in some mineral planets with high energy. Jia Yan felt that the words spoken by the venerable peak creature were gradually becoming more credible. Finally, a small piece of planetary material appeared in front of Jia Yan. The nearest star here is almost 2 light-years away, about 90 billion kilometers from the planet Jia Yan left previously. Because that planet was originally far away from the star. It's very cold here. The temperature is much colder than the ordinary starry sky. Jia Yan rushed to this gathering place of planetary material. Large tracts of ice and mineral asteroids, as well as huge frozen planets flying between the asteroids, appeared in front of him. Oh, no wonder, no one is mining here. It's because navigation is a bit difficult. Let's go up and have a look. Please remember the first domain name of this book. Reborn as an Interstellar Giant Mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1907. Jia Yan flew directly towards an extremely frozen planet. There are a lot of ice on the frozen planet. Of course, this ice cube is not all water, it may be ether or the like. In short, these liquids are all in a frozen state at this time. Jia Yan's huge giant mosquito body fell on this planet. There are a lot of strong winds on this planet. Although there is no temperature, there are strong winds due to some changes in temperature. Compared to the outer space, the temperature here is much higher. It's about -90 degrees, which is already very high. Compared with the outside temperature, the temperature here is almost -90 degrees, which is considered high. There were strong winds, and Jia Yan was flying forward while observing the bottom. The entire planet is frozen. If you want to mine it, it should be very difficult. At least this kind of temperature will not be tolerated by ordinary venerables. Jia Yan finally understood why mining on planets far away from normal stars was of little value. The first is the temperature. The surface temperature is very low. It is difficult for ordinary organisms to stay for a long time. Even if you have scientific equipment, it will be a huge expense and the gain outweighs the loss. In addition, it is too far away from ordinary inhabited planets to a certain extent. Even the area near the center of the galaxy here is not willing to spend a lot of money to invest. Furthermore, on a frozen planet, there is usually ice and snow, and the ice water on the surface is generally useless. If you want to mine minerals, you have to break the ice, which is also very troublesome. The above is the reason why most technological star fields do not spend a lot of money to mine on remote planets. Of course, if it is a star field with scarce resources, or a star field with a high degree of development, it will naturally not take into account so many problems, and will definitely go to such a star to mine resources. The problem is that in this gray zone star field, there is no such problem at all. The chaos inside has caused a large number of planets to be unmined. Normal planets and asteroid belts cannot be mined completely. Who can run away if they are full? To mine planets so far away from normal routes? Perhaps, my gains here will be greater than I imagined. Jia Yan walked on the stars. At the very least, this planet has a star core. If Jia Yan really wants to find a way and put some effort into tinkering, he might be able to create a star core. Of course, there may not be a star core, but ordinary planets will have it. It's an ownerless planet, and no one cares about it. If he does it, nothing big will happen. As for minerals and the like, Jia Yan never thought that anything worthy of what he wanted would appear. The diameter of the star is about 2,000 kilometers, which is much larger than the moon. After flying for a while, Jia Yan stopped looking so much. His own size is close to more than 30 kilometers, and a sphere with a diameter of 2,000 kilometers, for him, can only fly in a circle for a while. No big discoveries. With his current strength, he can already easily sense whether there is a large amount of energy on the star. This is why Jia Yan doesn't think he will miss many remote stars. Because for most stars, even if there are no caravans or mining teams coming here, when some strong people pass by, they will know whether there is any mining value by simply scanning. If there is, they will have arranged a team to mine it. Not to mention the small chance, strong people have been developing in the Milky Way for millions of years. In so many years, which planet has really not had a strong person pass by? Don't look at it. Even if there is a mine, it's not worth mining it myself because it's not worth it. Jia Yan shook his head. Then, his huge giant mosquito body suddenly burrowed into the ground. Puff. The earth-shattering sound spread far and wide on this frozen planet. There were even shock waves that suddenly erupted on this planet. You know, a huge creature burrows into the planet, causing a terrifying sound, just like two planets colliding. Let alone the creature drilling hard, even if it doesn't drill hard, this moment of contact will make the whole body shake. An extremely terrifying earthquake occurred on the surface of the planet. The entire surface of the frozen planet is cracked. Boom 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 boom. The huge thing was quickly burrowing inside. It is indeed very cold. Overall, the core of this planet is not very hot. Jia Yan drilled all the way down, ignoring the earth-shattering situation above, and focused entirely on the interior of the planet. The surrounding temperature is still not high, at least for Jia Yan, it is not as high as expected. Due to the rotation of the planet, even if there is not much stellar heat, the energy brought by the rotation will also increase the internal density and temperature. Otherwise, the internal temperature of the Earth or the Moon would not be extremely high. As for this planet, at least after Jia Yan suddenly drilled about 100 kilometers into it, he didn't see any liquid magma. Under such circumstances, Jia Yan was a little worried about whether this planet would have a liquid star core. To be honest, the star core is just the innermost core of a star. It has a relatively high density. However, because it is initially liquid, it requires at least a liquid environment to cause this situation. If there is no liquid inside, then Jia Yan feels that the star core he wants may not be formed. The conjecture about the star core is my own personal design. Don't really think that there is any star core. Maybe there is not. But things soon changed. That is, after Jia Yan moved forward for a certain distance, he felt that minerals such as planet rocks in front of him became very hot. From sub-zero temperatures, it quickly rose to above zero temperatures. It's over 50 degrees. Human beings will faint from the heat when they come here. Jia Yan was slightly happy. At this time, he had entered a depth of more than 300 kilometers inside the planet. Then, he became even more excited, because ahead was a large amount of magma. The appearance of magma made Jia Yan satisfied with the situation. With magma, it can be determined that the center of this planet is a liquid core, and in the center of this core, there should be a star core. To be honest, collecting star cores generally requires a planet to explode, or a star disaster, but at this time Jia Yan is desperately using his own strength to conquer a planet. This is actually a bit silly to say, because those who can do this must at least be at the galaxy level. After all, it seems simple now, but the further you go into the depths of the planet, the greater the pressure will be. If Jia Yan were not a mid-level powerhouse in the galaxy, he would probably be crushed directly to the core of the planet. This is still a planet with a diameter of 2,000 kilometers. If it were a huge planet like the Earth, the pressure at the center would be unbelievably terrifying. Even Jia Yan might not be able to bear it. If it were replaced by a larger gas planet, such as a huge star like Jupiter and Uranus, the pressure in the center might kill Jia Yan directly. Then the problem arises. Inside a small planet, the nature of the star core is not very high, and its applicable range is not very large. A strong man used great strength to run to the center, just to take a small amount. The core material of the star must then escape out, or simply blow up the planet. It is such a waste of energy. Because after they get it, they need to be put into the outside world and processed scientifically before they can be used by ordinary strong people. In this way, as time passes, the star core's physical condition will deteriorate. It is even possible that such a small planet's star core will it's almost useless. That's why strong people rarely do this kind of thing. Otherwise, so many junk planets would have been penetrated by strong men one by one, and even many planets would be destroyed by them. It was just Jia Yan who foolishly came here to try. Of course, Jia Yan's attempt is not unreasonable. The reason for his attempt was precisely because he previously believed that he was an evolved beast. Can't others use it soon? But he is different. He is an evolved beast. He will find the star core later, maybe inside the planet, and devour it directly. As long as it can be truly and completely digested, the effect is not much worse than swallowing the complete star core. Puff puff. Jia Yan continued to drill forward. His pressure began to increase, because the density of the surrounding material began to be extremely terrifying. When he was drilling on the soft surface just now, he felt extremely relaxed, but when he reached an area of 800 or 900 kilometers, he was surrounded by magma, and the temperature even reached over 1,000 degrees. This time, everything was resistance, up, down, left, and right, which made Jia Yan feel itchy and uncomfortable. But it's almost here. We're still about 100 or 200 kilometers away from the star core area. I feel that the power around me is a bit solidified. Is this the energy inside a planet? Jia Yan felt a little happy about the pressure inside the sub-planet. Because he thought that other strong people could not practice in such a place because they could not directly transform their power, but he was different. He was an evolved beast. I'll give it a try next time and find a place with better energy. Can I directly transform energy in it? Maybe my previous cultivation method has always gone wrong. The previous evolution beast seniors, What's wrong is that this kind of cultivation method is used. Jia Yan felt that he had opened a new door. Thinking about it, the previous evolution beast seniors have always been hunted down by others. They didn't have much time to practice. How could they quickly practice to a level higher than Jia Yan's current strength? To what extent? It is very possible that they adopted the method of cultivating inside the planet. The correct way to open the evolved beast is probably like this. Haha, I didn't realize this truth until I reached this level of strength, but it's not too late, because before the galaxy level, even if it was a star level existence, it would be very dangerous to go deep into the planet to practice, even if it can withstand high temperatures and pressure, but it will die when the Earth's crust moves. Jia Yan felt that the magma inside the planet did not move that frequently. After all, it was a star far away from the star, and its mobility was very low. Arrive. Suddenly, Jia Yan felt that in front of the direction he was drilling, the energy was suddenly lower than the area he was in. He immediately understood that he had reached the place. The energy in front is lower than where he is, which only means that he is now at the center point. They are all extremely high-density places. I feel that the pressure from the surroundings is at least 1,000 times greater than mine. It's so powerful. If I weren't a galaxy-level being, I would really be crushed to death. Jia Yan felt the energy around him, which was very shocking. And the surroundings are all filled with extremely hard semi-liquid material with an astonishing density. These can actually be regarded as star cores, but generally speaking, it is necessary to collect all the essence inside the real planet before it can be regarded as a star core. Jia Yan felt it silently, and then the brainwave power was released in a buzzing manner. The central part of the planet, which was already extremely condensed, instantly shrank again under the power of his brainwaves. Originally, such a star core was caused by an accident on the planet, such as an explosion or collision, which compressed the entire planet for an instant. But with the artificial means I am using now, it is definitely not that solid. But it is better than nothing. Click, click, click. Inside the planet, the pressure is at least 1,000 times greater than the pressure on the Earth's surface, but Jia Yan artificially increased the pressure several times. The material here quickly followed the cut surface of Jia Yan and suddenly condensed towards the center. Jia Yan himself resisted the influx of other materials from the outside world, allowing the star core material in the center, which was at least about 30 kilometers in size, to be completely compressed. 30 kilometers, it quickly continued to compress, which was an absolutely strenuous job. Jia Yan quickly compressed these materials to 25 kilometers. A little tired. He was a little out of breath. You know, his strength is at the middle level of the galaxy, and this is the first time this has happened. This has only compressed the density of 5 kilometers. At this time, the inside of the star core can be called a star core or not. Because Jia Yan's compression was not in place at all, and he did not have the strength, he continued to compress the material even lower. Compressing density can be said to be an action at the atomic level. What's more, the matter here is already very dense. He can compress something from 30 kilometers to 5 kilometers, which is considered extremely powerful. It's not enough. At least it's another 5 kilometers. Give me the power of Yin and Yang Dao. Jia Yan used all his strength. Find the bookstore. The power of Yin Yang Dao suddenly exploded. Under the loud noise, a brainwave force of positive and negative forces bombarded the ball. The ball continues to get smaller. Boom boom boom. The smaller ball suddenly felt extremely solidified. Click click click. Finally, when Jia Yan tried his best and was almost exhausted, this artificial star core appeared in front of him. He could hardly hold it any longer. Very good, take it out. The pressure here is too great. I can't hold it on for at least a few days. Jia Yan wrapped the star core with the power of his brain waves and suddenly pulled it out together. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Buletin U. Chapter 1908. This is really not a job that ordinary strong people can do. I have good endurance, but I almost died of exhaustion. With the artificial star core, Jia Yan was both happy and a little depressed. It was only compressed from 30 to 20, making the ball look a bit like a less dense star core. If it were to be compressed into a natural star core, to this extent, it really requires at least the existence of the domain master to be able to do it. But no matter what, the harvest this time is not low. When this man-made star core goes to the outside world, the energy inside will disappear very quickly. If possible, I would like to stay in the center of the star to devour it, but I really don't have the strength to hold on any longer. Fortunately, I can do it as soon as I get out. Enjoy it, because unlike others, I don't need to tinker with any more scientific methods. Boom boom boom. The entire planet suddenly lost the material with a density of 30 kilometers in the center, as if a large piece of material was missing, and suddenly the crustal movement began. The glaciers outside were like huge waves that could not be restrained and collapsed instantly. And many ice cubes began to fall into the cracks in the ground. Puff. A huge giant mosquito body, reaching a length of 30 kilometers, protrudes from the ground. Of course, many of the movements on the ground were caused by Jia Yan's crustal movement when he drilled into the ground. Exaggeration. The glaciers on this planet are beginning to explode. Jia Yan looked at the ground and saw nothing surprising. After all, he is not an ordinary creature. If a galaxy-level being can't create such a scene on a small planet, then what's the point of being a galaxy-level creature? If he wanted to, this planet could be completely destroyed by him. But Jia Yan didn't want to waste that energy. Whew! The huge mosquito body flew into the vast universe. This planet was originally quite quiet and a good place for cultivation, but after being tinkered with like this by himself, there was no possibility of peace anymore. He needs to go to the stars, or simply enter the subspace, so that he can carry out his own cultivation. Puff. Jia Yan never thought about actually practicing in the universe. He broke through directly into the subspace. After all, it is safer for him inside subspace. Although practicing in this inaccessible starry sky is still an option, damn it, a strong man will come and pass by. Seeing him practicing here, it is not a good idea. So Jia Yan chose to break into the subspace again. In an instant, he entered the subspace, and then he continued to move forward, pouring into the third-dimensional subspace in one breath. This depth between lines is just right for Jia Yan. There is no need to waste a lot of energy to fight against the distortions in the subspace, and you can ignore the prying eyes of the outside world. After all, ordinary strong people have a lot of understanding of the subspace on the first and second levels. If it is the third level, at least you won't see him here if you don't pay attention. Of course, if there are any creatures that originally belong to the subspace, it is inevitable that they will be seen when they come here and pass by. But Jia Yan didn't really believe that there were really as many subspace creatures in this starry sky as they said. Besides, even if there are many, how remote is this place? There are only a few subspace creatures, and it would be such a coincidence that he happened to pass by the subspace place where he is. It is even more difficult than the chance of winning the lottery by 100 billion. Is it a billion times better? Boom. As soon as he entered the third-level space, Jia Yan took out the huge round star core that was very similar to his own length. The size of this star core looks exaggerated, but it doesn't have as much energy as the one the Zerg Queen gave me last time. This shows how precious the star core she gave me then was. The lower the energy density of the star core, the less useful it is. This is easy to understand. As long as the amount of soil is large, it has huge energy, allowing you to swallow the soil of an entire planet, which is equivalent to a star core. Energy, are you willing to swallow it? Even if you are willing, the final effect is definitely not as good as actually swallowing a large energy star core, not to mention how much time it will take, you don't know. In short, calling this star core a star core is a bit flattering. If I don't devour it now, it will be useless later. Swallow it. Jia Yan felt that the energy in this star core was still extremely considerable. Puff. The mouthparts penetrated into the core of the star. Suddenly, I only felt that the material in this star core was not as easy to enter as it could go up to the sky and enter the star core. The feeling at that time was that it melted in your mouth and was very comfortable. But although this so-called artificial star core has great energy, the entrance is rock, which is even much harder than rock. It has to be said that he is strong enough, otherwise his mouthparts would be cut off. This is expected. For other creatures to obtain such an artificial star core, they need to go to the outside world and provide scientific instruments and other things. After tinkering with it, it will become something like a natural star core that melts in the mouth. But I'm different. Jia Yan smiled slightly. He already had a solution to this situation. A trace of condensation appeared inside the mouth parts. These condensates are like melting agents, quickly softening the iron-hard star core material, and then turning it into a liquid. This is the condensation in his body, and it has always been an excellent weapon for him to absorb external things. After softening in this way, it was like a liquid, and it was instantly sucked into his mouth by Jia Yan's mouth parts. Not long after, Jia Yan felt an instant surge of energy in his body. Haha, it's not as good as the star core from last time, but it's definitely good. It's the second best power I've ever used. It's not bad. It turns out that this method of obtaining a star core is actually available. At this moment, Jia Yan was extremely excited. Not only am I excited, this time the test is effective and I can gain energy. What was even more exciting was that it was like a door suddenly opened to him. Behind this door were countless unowned planets that could be used by him. You want to know what is the most abundant thing in the universe? It's not a living thing, nor is it a matter of grudges or grudges. It means that there are the most planets. There are as many ordinary planets in the Milky Way as gravel, and there are dozens and hundreds of times more unowned planets than owned ones. In this case, if he can completely master this cultivation method, then in the future there is almost no need to worry about your own cultivation resources. No, it doesn't seem to work. If I exclusively use one kind of energy to practice, it will definitely be bad for the future. The Queen of the Zerg has said before that the cultivation energy used by strong people is just like ordinary creatures. They only eat something that is definitely stunted and will have too much impact in the future. Although the star core is good, I don't mean to say that it cannot be cultivated with other powers. Jia Yan thought so much silently. In short, his devouring is still continuing. Regarding energy issues, he will think about it slowly in the future. At least this time, if you succeed, you will have confidence in the future. Puff puff. Gurgling gurgling. Countless energy, after being liquefied through the mouth parts, was transformed into ordinary energy and entered his body. Then, it was digested from his internal organs, and gradually turned into the power of his whole body. I don't understand. At least this one is not enough to allow me to enter the state of transformation. This has to be said to be the difference in energy. This simplified version of the star core I made myself, compared with the genuine star core I swallowed last time, there is still a certain gap. If you want to devour it enough to mutate me, you need at least 5. How much energy and time does this require on my part? It seems that this method of cultivation is not as easy to use as imagined. Jia Yan silently calculated how much star-like core power he needed. In short, he figured it out. Now that he has invented this method this time, he will not stop and will definitely mutate in one go. Although his current strength is at the middle level of the galaxy, he has not gone through the step of mutation, which is definitely not worthy of his current strength. As long as he mutates, his strength will truly reach the mid-level strength of the galaxy that he meets, at least much further than it is now. At that time, whether you want to enter the central star field of the Milky Way or continue wandering in the outside world, you will have your own capital and conditions. Then take some time. The Zerg Queen is probably saying that I have violated the terms, right? There is no way. I have an unexpected incident here. It seems that she does not understand the rules here and will leave me behind. Otherwise, it won't be like this. Yes, if she doesn't get angry in the future, I will still be angry. Jia Yan snorted. During the devouring process, there was no sign of mutation. This is because his strength is too strong. Even though the simple star core he built himself is extremely amazing, there is still no possibility of him mutating. How many days have passed since the devouring was completed? Finally, no matter how many days passed, Jia Yan silently devoured the star core material and silently emerged from his practice. Master, you have been devouring it for 30 days. So long. Faced with Edish's prompt, Jia Yan was slightly surprised. It took him 30 days to devour such a star core, but what about 5 more? That's 150 days, half a year. This does not include the process of making star cores. It can be seen that the simplified version of this self-made star core is indeed a simplified version, and it is still incomparable to the original one. However, it will take at least half a year to complete my mutation, which is considered a good choice. Jia Yan let out a long sigh. He knew that this was a problem faced by ordinary galaxy-level powerhouses, that is, it was difficult to find the energy for cultivation. Even if it was found, it would take a lot of time to digest it. His strength is already at the intermediate level, and the digestive talent of the evolved beast has gradually become less unique. Although it may be a little faster than ordinary mid-level creatures in the galaxy, it still has many advantages, but in fact, it may still be at a disadvantage when faced with the digestion of certain unique talents. Fortunately, at least there is such a thing as condensation, which is also a huge cheating device. Other strong men can't swallow it directly, but he can swallow it directly. This cheater is already big enough. Boom. Jia Yan tried it. Inside the third layer of subspace, an attack exploded. Of course, now he has no feet at all. He just uses his head to bump into the subspace, which means he is bombarding. The power this time can be said to be extremely powerful. Hey, that's right. Even if there is no mutation, my strength has increased visibly to the naked eye. Jia Yan was slightly happy. The change in this star core is that his strength has increased rapidly. Even if it is not an extremely large number, if it reaches the accumulation of 5, it will be a huge change. Of course, mutation is another change. After these changes, his strength will undergo earth-shaking changes. It is comparable to the change of being promoted to the middle level of galaxy. In fact, it should be said that the improvement of Jia Yan's strength originally included the real improvement of the overall strength together with the mutation after an improvement. Now this improvement feels like it is halfway through. He looks like he is at the middle level of the galaxy. But for his evolved beast system, this is just half of the improvement, and it is not yet the real middle level of the galaxy. Only after he completes the mutation process can he be considered an intermediate level creature in the galaxy. This is perfect. Okay, there are 4 more times. There is still a lot of interstellar matter in this starry sky, almost all of which are ownerless things. In other words, there are not even half a person here, so I will look for it. It should be enough for me to try again. Find 4 similar big planets. Jia Yan rushed out of the subspace. The frozen planet before was useless, because the materials in the planet had been used by him, that is, the essence had been used up. If he wanted to collect it again, he would hardly be able to collect it as good as last time, even if he could barely get it. The effect is less than half, so it is better not to do it. At least this planet is not dead yet, and is even in good health. If it strays to some chance in the future, it may enter the system of a certain star system, and then gradually become a livable environment, and it is also the home mother of many starry creatures. Jia Yan has done a good deed. Of course, I don't know how many billions of years will happen. Will this planet die first or become a member of that kind of star system? Is hard to say. There seems to be a similar planet over there, haha, go and have a look. Jia Yan suddenly witnessed that a similar frozen star appeared only more than 20 billion kilometers away from the previous frozen planet. This one is larger, with a diameter of more than 5,000 kilometers. Can I condense its star core? Give it a try. Jia Yan drilled into the surface of the next planet. The internal pressure of a planet with a diameter of more than 5,000 kilometers is many times greater than the pressure of the previous one. When Jia Yan reached a distance of more than 300 kilometers from the star core, he could no longer enter. He had no choice but to stay where he was and condense the star core. Boom boom boom. The brainwave power bombards and compresses continuously. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1909. Things like star cores are naturally the best at the center of the planet. But it is really impossible to enter the center of the planet. If it is condensed at the nearest place, there is still a certain chance. It's just that the core substance is completely different, and the effect is definitely more than a little worse. It is a pity that this time the cohesion turned out to be a failure. Not long after, Jia Yan drilled out of the planet, which was extremely regrettable. It seems that we can only find small frozen stars and the like to condense them. Otherwise, such a big one will be useless at all. It took a lot of effort to condense it, but it has no effect at all. Jia Yan sighed. He wasted a lot of time, strength, and energy, but it was useless. This time it was a loss. However, it is also a good experience to gain wisdom after learning through mistakes. Ever since, this big mosquito has been searching for huge stars in this inaccessible area. Throw away the big ones, and cannot use the small ones. He will only try to use the ones that are about 2,000 kilometers away. Time passed slowly. More than a year, in fact, it was longer than he expected. At this point in time, Jia Yan not only wanted to compress the core of the planet he saw, but also to search for the planet. The time has not been very long, and if it were another strong person, he would definitely not be able to accomplish this kind of thing. Of course, most of the time wasted is digesting. Finally we've reached it. The body can no longer suppress it and is about to mutate. Jia Yan hid silently in an open starry sky. In fact, he has circled around a piece of interstellar material for quite a while, and now he has reached the total amount of mutant energy he needs. All the suitable planets in this circle were swallowed whole by him. As a result, Jia Yan, who was stuck at this small juncture in his cultivation, suddenly became loose. The signs of looseness caused condensation to appear in his body from time to time. The emergence of these condensations means that he is preparing to mutate. At the same time, Jia Yan himself has gradually mastered the development and compression techniques of star cores. If similar work needs to be carried out in the future, he will be able to carry out similar operations with one hand. Of course, this kind of operation is actually not very worthwhile. This time it is used to break through. If the breakthrough does not require star core level power, Jia Yan feels that he might as well use a slightly lower level of energy material to practice. Why bother? Spend so much time on star core compression and so on. Thankless. A galaxy level powerhouse can do many things. If he does not want to compress, he can do things such as fighting, studying advanced cultivation methods, and discussing with other powerhouses. In more than a year, much more meaningful. Of course, since Jia Yan has chosen this method, it means that he knows that this method is suitable for him. Okay, now, I'll start mutating. The last mutation took several months. This time, Jia Yan was a little hesitant, because he had already spent a year here compressing and devouring the star core. If he mutated for another period of time, wouldn't it take more than 2 years in total? In these 2 years, the Zerg Queen, you might think that he was either dead or escaped. If you send a breach of contract requirement for Jia Yan to escape and send it to the Orion Arm, he will be embarrassed and may even bring certain disasters to the Orion Arm. Because a creature that goes to collect debts will definitely not be very friendly. Forget it, mutation is imminent. It just depends on whether the Zerg Queen is such a lackluster existence. I feel like she is more than that. Jia Yan felt that based on what he saw, the Zerg Queen would not do such a villainous act. Besides, it has been done for more than a year. This mutation will only take a few months at most and will definitely take less than a year, so why give up? Jia Yan figured it out and went straight into the subspace. The choice of training place this time is still within the subspace. Boom. Not long after, Jia Yan entered the subspace, and suddenly, a large amount of material was thrown out. However, these thrown substances will soon be swallowed back by the condensation. These condensates can be said to be the best recyclers. They can recycle the spilled power from Jia Yan's mutation with almost no loss, which greatly enhances the utilization of power. Countless liquids continued to condense inside this subspace, and then turned into a huge round cocoon-like thing. Click click click. The cocoon gradually expands inside the subspace. At the same time, he continued to devour the interstellar materials that Jia Yan had already prepared in the subspace. Of course, these materials were just minerals. Although the energy contained was not low, it was not comparable to the star core. Generally speaking, it was just for condensation. It just provides strength when the liquid breaks through. After a lot of preparation, his cocoon condensation process was extremely smooth. During this whole process, Jia Yan gradually became what he had often experienced before, that is, he became a protozoa waiting to mutate in the cocoon. With this mutation, I should be able to regenerate my feet, and even my body will be more than twice as strong. Coupled with my galactic mid-level brainwave power, I will be even stronger in the future than I have been in recent times. More than times. Jia Yan felt his body silently. Then, his entire body, as well as his perception, fell into darkness. During each mutation process, he will fall into darkness. This period is when Jia Yan is at his weakest. But every time the mutation location he chose was considered safe, there wasn't much danger. This time is no exception. In such an inaccessible place, he didn't worry at all about the arrival of strong men from the outside world. Only this time, Jia Yan's estimate was wrong. In the process of his transformation into darkness, a strong man did come. Damn it, the territory lord who is far away from the 2-star regions actually came to us to look for someone. An existence with star-level strength is flying silently in the universe. He flew here from a planet in a distant star. Of course, he usually takes his powerful battleship to certain places where there may be biological signs, and then stops to investigate. Hey, it seems like there are really traces of some kind of creature coming here. This star-level existence suddenly stopped. He looked around in confusion. Because he felt that in the starry sky where he came, there were actually many planets and interstellar asteroids, and there were traces of living creatures stepping on them. Even some stars were damaged. This trace of destruction was caused recently. This stellar creature suddenly became alert. You know, even though he is a star-level existence, it is very difficult to destroy a planet. Moreover, This strong man with traces of destruction does not look like he is deliberately destroying the planet, but is doing something. Drilling into the interior of the planet, could it be that this strong man is making a star core? How is it possible? It is simply impossible for an ordinary strong man to make a star core by himself. Could it be that this strong man is making a star core? Did you bring a scientific research team with you? It's impossible not to bring one. He looked at the surrounding situation carefully, but after looking for a long time, he shook his head. Because if there is a scientific research team, there will be no other traces here. Generally speaking, scientific research teams are all relatively weak weaklings, but they did not leave any traces here, which means that this strong man did not bring any scientific research team at all. That is to say, this strong man is indeed working on something inside the planet, but it should not be the star core. What's going on? This strong man seems to have been here in the past year or so, but he left very quickly. The star-level existence, while tracking the traces here, hurriedly sent out its findings in the form of signals. This strong man accepted a certain commission and came here to investigate. The entrusted person was a powerful territory lord 2 star regions away. This territory lord is very powerful, and there are even rumors that this territory lord is the most powerful among the surrounding star domains. Therefore, no one among the senior officials in this gray star field would dare not listen to the orders from the other party. The order was passed on, and every star level took action. Even the powerful men at the half-star level and below are searching around the universe one by one. The other party should have randomly sent a wanted order, causing many creatures in this gray star field to panic. In fact, people didn't even think that they would find anything here, it was just better than nothing. This is the miserable and embarrassing situation of the gray star field. In other normal star fields, those strong men are all dictating their gray star field, and they don't even dare to fart. To put it bluntly, the gray star territory is a place of lawlessness that wanders between powerful star territories. But in fact, if it were not to maintain the balance between the star territories, these domain lords would deliberately create these gray star territories. Gray star territory simply cannot exist. At this moment, this star-level being was executing the orders sent by the domain master from the outside world in the starry sky. I believe that many stars of the same level as him are conducting investigations not only in this gray star field, but also in the surrounding normal star fields, as well as in several gray star fields, large and small. The target of capture is a galaxy-level being. Stellar-level masters only need to find traces of him and then provide information. If the information is obtained, a lot of resources will be rewarded. This star-level creature constantly observes its surroundings and then transmits signals. Although this is not unique information, it is at least the information of a galaxy-level powerhouse. It is very important for him to pass it on. I hope that even if it is not the person that the territory lord is looking for, the senior leaders of our gray star territory will give me a certain reward for my courage in investigating a galaxy-level intelligence. This star-level creature is delusional. He has never thought about whether this galaxy-level being here might be a high-ranking person in their gray star territory. If so, it would be a big mistake, and it might even cause others to do some confidential things. But if he was stabbed open, he would definitely die. Puff. Just when this star-level creature was sending a signal, a fast lightning struck this star-level powerhouse. The majestic star-level existence, on the Orion arm, looked like an invincible strong creature. At this moment, it didn't even have time to scream, and died instantly. Haha, as expected, a strong man passed by. It can be seen that the master's arrangement is very useful. Small light and shadow mosquitoes appeared in the starry sky. There are actually many huge meteorite explosives in the subspace behind it. These explosives played a great role in Jia Yan's previous battles. This time, because he wanted to close his consciousness and mutate, he naturally would not care about his own safety. So he spent a certain amount of time and money to create about 20 such explosives, large and small, and they were temporary explosives that could explode with great power in a short period of time. Instead, he felt that it would be enough to maintain the power of these explosives for a few months. By then, his mutation would be completed, and it would not matter if the power of these explosives was lost. Fortunately, his backup plan, which was better than nothing, actually worked. After Edisha discovered the star, she immediately detonated an explosive and shot him to death. But what is a bit depressing is that it also detected this stellar powerhouse and actually sent a signal. In other words, he actually passed the news to the outside world. I'm depressed. The master is in danger. I don't know if the creatures in the outside world will pay attention to the signal. It would be nice if we wait for a few months before someone strong comes to investigate. Edisha was extremely depressed. It also knows that things can't be that simple. If it's just a signal, forget it. But the problem is that if this star-level existence actually dies here, then the problem will be huge. If the creatures in the outside world cannot get a response from this star-level creature, they will definitely pay attention to it if they know that something unexpected has happened to him. Forget it, and let me see if I can delay it for a while with these explosives, Master. A few months is not long or short, as long as I make good use of the explosives. Don't let the other party think that they need to use galaxy-level beings at first, then the Master will be fine. After a few months, it's time for the galaxy-level Master to wake up, and everything will be fine. Editha consoled herself. It's okay not to comfort yourself. You can't say that Jia Yan will definitely die. What's more, we don't know whether things will get dangerous. Edisha is a very optimistic person, so she won't be so pessimistic, okay. Edisha was very sure of herself, and she felt that she was about to experience a battle against an army. On Jia Yan's side, it was in full swing, preparing to mutate again. Just as Jia Yan thought, after he disappeared for a while, the Zerg Queen who went to the central star region of the Milky Way sensed something was wrong. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1910. What's going on? Jia Yan hasn't caught up yet, because we have reached the center of the Milky Way, and our energy circle has slowed down extremely. Just to wait for him, I didn't leave the subspace and gravitational wave space, and he still hasn't come. In her palace, the Zerg Queen expressed her doubts about Jia Yan's non-return. Your Majesty, Jia Yan is not a trustworthy person when I first saw him. Although he is not the kind of person who goes back on his word, the problem is that he has a strong self-esteem and may have been dissatisfied with you for a long time. This time if he encounters any obstacles in the outside world, it is the reason why he deliberately did not return, because he did not want to be controlled by you after arriving in the central star region of the Milky Way. Beside the Zerg Queen, the Black Sheep said coldly. Black Sheep, what you said is a little wrong. I understand that Jia Yan is proud and self-respected, but he will never reach this point. If there were no special circumstances, he would not delay his arrival. The Queen of the Zerg seemed to have seen through the Black Sheep's thoughts, and seemed to be smiling. Black Sheep didn't hide it, he just stopped talking. Black Sheep didn't have a good attitude toward Jia Yan from the beginning. It wasn't that he thought Jia Yan could take away his power, it was just that he simply didn't like it. Okay, let's talk about other things now. If Jia Yan is late, there is nothing we can do. We have to pay attention to our own affairs. The Zerg Queen was in the palace, discussing the next matters with a group of galaxy-level creatures. At this moment, they had suddenly entered the center of the galaxy. But the situation before them was very serious. Because as soon as they enter the center of the galaxy, other forces exist, asking them to join, and even asking them to sign an extremely unequal peace treaty. This is completely unacceptable to the Zerg Queen and the coming group of galaxy-level beings. But that force is extremely powerful, and their condition is that they will bring the Zerg Queen and give them a certain amount of experience, and they will be freed 1 year from now. This condition sounds a bit unfair, but in fact it is not unacceptable if it is only for 1 year. 1 year in exchange for knowledge and experience is a very cost-effective thing in the center of the galaxy. What's more, the Zerg Queen is extremely powerful. Even among the forces that ask them to join, there are only 1 or 2 beings as powerful as the Zerg Queen. In this way, this group of people has full confidence. Even if they fall out with each other, no one will be afraid of the Zerg Queen. So they are discussing what this force wants them to do. After discussions, I felt that this force probably just felt that it needed help from an outside force. After all, the Zerg Queen and her group are quite strong, but the existence of this group of forces seems to be very familiar with people or forces from the outside world. They have even seen a single person from the outside world who is not too strong. Strong people, such as a certain middle-level being in the galaxy, are directly dragged by this force to work as coolies, or cannon fodder. Fortunately, they have a good force, otherwise even if the Zerg Queen comes alone, she may suffer a big loss. What about Jia Yan? If he doesn't understand the rules here and suddenly runs in, won't he be dragged into hard labor for the rest of his life by such a force? It's really hard to say, not to mention that I heard that outside the central area of the nearby Milky Way, the same method of war is carried out. In other words, the Queen said that Jia Yan did not come because of something, it may be this thing. Well, isn't this Jia Yan hopeless? Who cares, we don't have a very good personal relationship with him, and when we came here, he practiced alone. It was so uncomfortable for us guys to watch him practice. It's good that he has his retribution now. In the hall of the Zerg Queen, there were many famous galaxy-level beings. They were chatting about their arrival at the center of the Milky Way, and at the same time, they talked about Jia Yan. Many people felt that it would be difficult for Jia Yan to catch up with them. Even if he did, he would probably be 1 step ahead and intercepted by the powerful people and forces here. After all, Jia Yan is just an ordinary strong man. The strength of the middle-level galactic people is an incredible strong man in the outside world, even in the Zerg domain. But if he goes to the central area of the galaxy, it is nothing. At least when they arrived here, they understood that even in their eyes, the invincible Queen of the Zerg was actually not a very rare existence. At least there were 1 or 2 with similar strength among the forces that intercepted them. The strong men in this force also said that if the Zerg Queen and other creatures do not listen to their advice, they will suffer great losses if they approach the inner area in the future, and even the galaxy-level beings in the entire force's energy circle will have to death is also a possibility. Therefore, the other party's condition is to let the Zerg Queen and others follow the other party to fight for a year. After 1 year, they will tell the Zerg Queen and them many principles in the central region of the Milky Way, so that they can avoid detours. What's more, even if they don't tell them, it is estimated that 1 year is enough for people like the Zerg Queen to collect a lot of information here. Therefore, the Zerg Queen and others, even in this place, silently acquiesced to the behavior of staying. As for Jia Yan, under the drastic changes, the Zerg Queen and others gradually stopped caring. Their own lives were at stake, and they had no time to think about such a disappeared character. In fact, the creatures like the Zerg Queen did not know that Jia Yan went to the nearby area they mentioned. It's just that he happened to run into the gap between these star fields, carrying out his own mutation in an uninhabited area within the gray star field. However, his secluded life in an uninhabited area will soon be broken. The death of a star is like an uproar to an ordinary planet around it. Although that stellar powerhouse is nothing to most of the real powerhouses in this star field, this planet is originally a planet that this powerhouse rules together with another powerhouse. Now one of the 2 stars on this planet is missing, and the other one is in danger. In this star field where the strong are stronger, 2 stars rule a planet. This is a normal phenomenon here. But now, one of the 2 people on this planet is missing, and the remaining one is very worried about whether other star-level creatures will come to attack him and drive him out of the planet. Who actually killed my companion? Could it be related to the mission he was on? How is it possible? This mission is not about being a strong man on the planet, but just a symbolic run around to show off. Why? He disappeared as soon as he went out. Could it be that he really met the creature he was looking for? No, we need to report the information. This creature received the signal sent by the star-level creature during the final period of its death. Although there was nothing unusual about it, it also indicated that there was something unique and powerful in that desolate starry sky. Signs left by others. This star-level creature suddenly knew that his companion creature should have died because of the powerful man in this starry sky. He quickly did not dare to investigate it himself and report the situation to his superiors. Not long after. Huh? There is unique information 2 star fields away? No, this is a gray star field. The outsider wants to hide. He is not familiar with this star field, so he hides in the gray star field. Domain is also a good choice. Is it really there? A creature that reaches 100 kilometers in size silently hovers in the starry sky. But at this moment, he was a little shocked. He had no expectations when he originally sent out the mission to investigate the extremely powerful person. Although during this period of time, there were a lot of abnormal phenomena sent to him and a lot of information was given, none of them were like the mid-level galaxy creature that invaded his star domain and even escaped under his hands. The Domain Lord creature did not completely regard catching this escaping creature as the main reason for sending out the mission this time. In fact, he knew that it would be difficult for him to find clues about a creature with subspace talent if he wanted to escape. And a large part of the reason for doing this in such a big way is to take advantage of the opportunity when he is embarrassed and angry to sort out the general starry sky information around him. After all, in normal times, no subordinate of the intermediate star existence dies. And he has no reason to let other star regions give him information. In this way, the information from other star regions has been obtained. It is best to find the outsider who killed one of his subordinates. If he cannot be found, he can find a way to take revenge in the future. For Domain Lord level existence, it is certain that they want face, but if they become so violent because of face issues, that would be abnormal. At least this Domain Master creature has not reached that point. But what I never expected was that doubts actually emerged. The distance between 2 star regions. I could do it in the past, but the distance in between is not so easy to walk after all. I am also a Domain Master. The Domain Masters of 2 star domains should not let me pass so easily. Let's do this. I'll send one of my capable subordinates to lead his own team there. Is that all right? Those 2 guys must not even give me this face. If they don't even give me this face, if you don't give it, I will really go there by myself. I think these 2 guys will have an even bigger headache by then. After all, my overall strength is still a little stronger than them. This Domain Lord creature was thinking extremely domineeringly. Thinking of this, he issued an order. Not long after, a huge team flew forward in a certain direction along the territory of the star field. As for whether the territory lord is worried about the safety of this team, that's too much to think about. He dared to release this subordinate and his team because he had considered the strength of that subdimensional being. The strange movement there is just not caused by subspace creatures. If it is really him, then all the subordinates of his past team are not weak, especially the leader, who has reached the galaxy. The middle level of the level, almost reaching the high level. It is much stronger than the 2 previous subordinates who used to intercept subspace creatures. The territory lord couldn't believe how much strength the subspace creature that had just been promoted to the mid-level galaxy could continue to increase in such a short period of time. Even if you are a genius, in such a short period of time, do you still want to surpass a mid-level galactic middle-level being? Just kidding. He had personally tested Jia Yan's strength, and there was no way he could compare with this subordinate. This is the reason why he is relieved. Humph, I wasn't planning on dealing with you with all my strength. If it's really you this time, then that's it. I'll collect some information and kill you. It will make me feel better, otherwise I won't be happy. To be honest, this territory lord was still unhappy with the space creature that embarrassed him. You must know that he did it himself at that time. He didn't even catch or kill a creature that had just advanced to the middle level of the galaxy. The face was slapped. So if it can be killed, then so be it. Boom. In the starry sky of the universe, the shadows of a group of creatures are advancing back and forth. Like Jia Yan, many giant galaxy-level creatures become powerful and extremely large in the later stages. It is very difficult to ride on a battleship. Even if you have the financial resources, battleships are prone to problems. Damaged and not practical at all. So everyone has become, like Jia Yan, installing some propellers on their bodies that can make the body move forward quickly. At this moment, each of these creatures has a propeller similar to the Edissa. They are extremely fast. Humph, that subspace creature actually offended the face of our domain lord last time. Even because he has a good subspace talent, he even escaped from the domain lord himself. I just heard that, it's natural that he was seriously injured, so if we see him this time, there shouldn't be any danger. What we need to discuss now is how to torture him if we find him. Question. Among this group of creatures, there is a monster that looks like a chimpanzee. He is probably the leader of this group of creatures. After speaking out, he is recognized by the group of creatures. Haha, if that guy is really there, a group of us creatures will pass by and we will beat his muscles and pull out his skin. If you want me to see it, just tie him up and throw him into the stars. Watching him burn a little bit is also a good choice. You are all powerful, but I am not as cruel as you. I just want to throw him into the attractive range of the black hole, and watch him being sucked into mummy bit by the black hole, and then sucked into fragments, ha ha ha. Surrounding this chimpanzee creature are a group of galactic-level creatures that are trying to flirt with him. Most of them are elementary-level creatures from the galaxy, and only 3 are intermediate-level creatures from the galaxy. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1911. With such a luxurious team, it is almost easy to deal with ordinary mid-level galactic people, especially the strong orangutan. He himself is extremely powerful. Except for higher-level creatures than him, there are no creatures of the same level that are similar to him. It must be his opponent. What's more, this group of creatures still exists very close to the central star field of the Milky Way. Their general strength is much stronger than that of the hillbilly creatures outside. At least they knew that their opponent was an intermediary queen of the galaxy from the outside world, and everyone was in a good mood, because this kind of outside creature, even though its subspace talent may be good, its combat power is definitely weak. There is no danger, anyone is willing to do such a task, just treat it as a trip on public funds. Even if the space-talented creature used his subspace talent to escape this time, they would not be under any pressure. They didn't see the domain lord himself taking action, and they couldn't do anything to that guy. What else could they do? Haha, I just don't know if it's that kid over there. If not, it will be a bit troublesome, so we still have to be careful. We know, because if we weren't, we'd all be at risk of being used as gunmen, and that would get us into trouble. Everyone was laughing and joking. Naturally, they would not act blindly, nor would they easily trust the star-level creature who gave them information. Otherwise, it would be a joke if they were tricked. Each of these creatures is powerful and naturally none of them is really stupid. If the intelligence of that star-level creature was deliberately used to exterminate a dissident, or a conspiracy in the gray star field, but there were people behind them, and others would not dare to trick them to death. When they see something is wrong, they will naturally give up the mission and return to the star field. They can still make this small judgment. The arrival of this group of galaxy-level creatures was completely unknown to Jiayan, who was hundreds of light-years away. Or it should be said that his entire body has fallen into a state of chaos, and he has no thoughts of his own at all. Jiayan has been thinking about his own mutation. Did his own brain mutate at that time? If so, was his previous self considered dead? For Jiayan, this is like an unsolvable problem because he himself doesn't know the answer. Generally speaking, after the mutation, he actually retained his previous memories, so for him, he was still alive, but his brain had changed. Then there is no need to think so much. If everything must be carefully distinguished, there will be too many unexplainable things in life. Buzz buzz. Within the subspace, the huge cocoon-like thing transformed by Jiayan was constantly buzzing and vibrating. This is not the first time that there has been a mutation in the subspace, but every time, something weird happens. For example, this time, Jiayan mutated within the three-dimensional subspace, and the surrounding space continued to distort, causing the huge cocoon-like thing that Jiayan transformed into to instantly distort, and then return to its original state. This is actually his cocoon shell, which was momentarily suppressed by external pressure and found some problems. It's just that Jiayan twisted it again, allowing his cocoon shell to return to its original shape in an instant. All this happens unconsciously. Inside the cocoon, one of the silkworms has lost its consciousness and has no trace of mind. It is gradually evolving suddenly. Just like the beautiful creature that is truly ready to emerge from its cocoon and become a butterfly, ready to bloom its own beauty. Of course, what is inside the huge cocoon at this moment is not a butterfly, but a huge monster with organs gradually taking shape and not so beautiful. Essentially, this monster still looks like a bug, but its body shape has become more streamlined, and its appearance is more in line with the public's scientific perspective. Even though this monster is still not fully formed, its body size can already be roughly calculated. It is at least 60 or 70 kilometers in size, which is several times larger than the previous giant mosquito that was 30 kilometers in size. 60 or 70 kilometers, even if it is only calculated based on the size of 60 kilometers, it is definitely at the level of a small star. Put it on the moon, and people on the Earth can clearly see his figure. This is a galaxy-level existence, a normal-sized creature. How huge it is. Yes, this creature is none other than Jiayan. He still hasn't regained consciousness, but his body is already undergoing rapid mutation and evolution. Master, you haven't gotten up yet. There are already many investigation teams outside. It's probably just a matter of time before we are exposed. The Aditha transformed into a small mosquito of light and shadow, constantly flying around Jiayan's cocoon. Farther away is the Edisha parked inside the subspace. As a machine that can fly 10 degrees in the subspace, it can be said to be relaxed and freehand when parked in these 3 degrees. At least there are no other machines. Once inside the subspace, problems are much more likely to occur. On the opposite side of the Edissa, there seem to be a large number of meteorite-like things placed very carefully. These things look relatively ordinary, just like the broken stones that can be seen everywhere in the starry sky. In fact, this is also the case. If these stones had not given them new life, they would probably be ordinary stones with no valuable minerals. In the future, they may float in the interstellar space for hundreds of millions or even billions until eternity. But at this time, they are different. Even though they are still ordinary boulders and interstellar matter on the outside, internally, due to the imbalance of positive and negative forces, they contain extremely terrifying explosive power. This is the self-protection tool Jiayan gave to Edisha. When the star-level creature came before, Edisha used these stones to give the opponent a fatal blow. In fact, if it weren't for Jiayan's foreknowledge, it seems that there may be some twists and turns. This stellar attack is already a very dangerous situation. However, the dangerous situation still lies ahead. Even if this star-level creature is killed by Edisha with a stone with explosive power, there will still be many problems caused by him later. For example, if a star-level creature dies, the force or planet he belongs to will never give up and will definitely investigate the cause of the death. And now, there are many external warships and investigation technology spacecraft coming to investigate this place. The Edisha is constantly covering up Jia Yan's whereabouts. Even the area around the first level of the subspace is silently using the Edisha to directly cause chaos and allow outsiders to investigate the interior of the subspace. Because of the twisted resistance, they gave up investigating the deeper subspace. However, the death of a star-level creature is a huge event for any force, so even if they cannot investigate it now, they will always find ways to investigate at least the third or even fourth layer of subspace. Otherwise, if other star classes come here in the future and are killed again, the problem will be serious. In other words, if the existence or celestial phenomenon that killed a star-level creature could move on its own, then the problem would be even bigger, and it could even lead to the death of a large number of creatures, or the death of a large number of powerful people. This is not the case in history. There is no precedent, so this kind of investigation is necessary. Ah, don't go over there. The previous explosion happened there. They will find that there is the crime scene. Woohoo, should I kill them too? Edisha was helpless. He wanted to kill the coming group of investigators, but he didn't dare to kill them, because killing them would mean there was a problem here, even a problem that could kill a star-level creature. Then what would happen next? The strength of the investigators who come back is likely to exceed Stellar's strength. He won't be able to deal with it then. So if you can delay time, delay time. Edisha was cruel. The next moment, inside the command room of a research ship, a tiny giant mosquito appeared in front of a creature. What are you? This creature that had reached the level of venerable strength was startled when he found that a light and shadow figure actually appeared in front of him. But after being startled, he realized that what he saw in front of him was just a body of light and shadow. Oh, it is actually a technological creation that can break through the defense of our warship and come to my control room. It means that you have no malicious intentions and the technology is also good, otherwise you would not be able to do this kind of thing. Well, tell me, what kind of intelligence are you? This venerable level creature saw clearly the reality of Edisha, and immediately smiled disdainfully. For them, technology is too advanced. Existences like Aditha are unknown in their civilization. Even in this gray star field, children can play with such virtual light and shadow objects. Although this substance broke through the defense of their battleship, this does not mean how powerful it is, but because it does not carry an attack signal. In addition, the technology of this battleship is not high. After all, it is a battleship in the gray star field. No matter how high the technology can be. So he didn't feel any surprise, he just looked at the light and shadow creature slightly solemnly. Because he knew that even if the technology was not strong, being able to enter the interior of their spaceship also meant that they had a certain level of strength. In addition, the light and shadow creature appeared at this time, indicating that he was probably the one who caused the stellar powerhouse. One of the factors of death. So wouldn't it be scary to have an object that could kill a star-level existence? At least he, a venerable level creature, didn't dare to completely ignore it. So he asked, otherwise, the electronic defense in the battleship would have been activated long ago to strangle this little light and shadow creature. Hello, I am an intelligence from an alien spacecraft. You must be searching for clues about the star that died before, right? I know the reason, but it involves a confidentiality level. I want to tell you, let's talk to a higher level. The Edisha was flying inside the command room. Although it also knew that if it was attacked, with the level of intelligence of the Edisha, it would probably die here, but it had nothing to be afraid of. Because for him, serving Jia Yan is his supreme mission, and even if he dies for Jia Yan, it is something he is willing to do. You want to negotiate with our senior management, and do you know the reason for the death of that stellar senior? The venerable level creature was suddenly startled. The group of creatures around him were also shocked. In their opinion, this little creature of light and shadow is not so high-tech that it actually knows about such a big problem. That's right, I won't go into more details. Please invite another high-level person to come, at least one with a star level or above. Adisha said calmly. Well, okay, I'll go discuss it with them. By the way, I don't like too much noise. The noise from the machines around me makes me uncomfortable. If you want me to continue talking to you, please turn off the machine. I will tell you the whole story then. I won't tell you, it's useless for you to keep arguing here. If you can kill a star level thing, do you think you can get any information by messing around like this? Aditya pretended to be very arrogant, which made the other party a little depressed. You are right. We will stop the search, but we hope that the information you gave us is useful. Otherwise, we will easily make you regret it. After all, it seems that your intelligence is quite advanced now. You should know what fear is. Bar. The other party also did his part and started to retort. Well, I know what I'm afraid of, so you don't have to scare me with words. Anyway, I'm waiting for your stellar powerhouse to come. Edisha nodded lightly. It says nothing. Moreover, he said that he wanted a star-level existence to come and discuss it, so he went to Shiyuan is its way of delaying time. Among so many machine and battleship operators, it has not seen a star-level creature, so if it wants to see a star-level creature, even if the other party is close, it will take at least a certain amount of time. Get here. This helped Jia Yan extend the mutation time. He even thought about what the opponent would do next when he came to the astral level, such as releasing one or two pieces of relatively important information, but holding the opponent back so that they could not continue to investigate further, and then it would say, only when you see a galaxy-level existence can you tell more information. Meeting a galaxy-level creature is not that simple. At least according to the information Edisha knows, although there are many galaxy-level creatures in this star field, it is almost impossible to see them casually. Things. Even if there are any galactic-level creatures willing to come, they don't know how far away they are. If it's a few light years or something like that, and they are flying here, are they accelerating faster than the speed of light? Or not using faster than light means? This problem is even more troublesome. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1912. In fact, in the current Milky Way, there are still a large number of scientists who have headaches about this matter. Long-distance flight, in this galaxy, at least at the high-level technological level, has solved the problem. The farther the distance, the faster the speed due to the gradually accelerating flight mode. Although there is a limit to this speed, but at least it's not a big problem. But for things that are neither close nor far away, such as a few light years, this is a bit embarrassing. A distance of a few light years, generally speaking, the speed does not take more time than 10 light years, and even fuel and the like have to be spent. Almost. The size of this gray star field is only a few light years. If there are any strong people within a few light years, then the problem will be big. It will take at least a while for them to come over. In other words, it is equivalent to winning over Jia Yan. Precious time for mutation. Jia Yan really doesn't understand how Aditya, a little mosquito of light and shadow, is trying hard to buy time for herself in the outside world. Anyway, this period of time was not easy for him. The process of mutation is still so painful. The whole body seemed to be torn apart, and even the cells and tissues in the body were really completely shattered, and then the body was reorganized. It is not an exaggeration to say that the body was shattered into pieces. So the pain of all this process can be imagined. He has been in a semi-conscious state and has no awareness of the outside world. How long has it been? At a certain moment, when Jia Yan silently felt a glimmer of self-awareness, his identity and previous memories came back to his mind instantly. This kind of recovery seemed like something natural to him. But if he was not such a powerful master and lacked strength, he might not be able to recover his sanity so quickly, and even his memory would be difficult to restore to its current level. Of course, he is a galaxy-level being, so similar strange abilities are not uncommon. I can't help it yet. I can't feel everything around me, even my body. This must be the middle stage of the mutation process, right? Jia Yan tried to explore the outside world in the darkness, but found that these efforts were in vain. Next, an indescribable feeling of ant bites appeared in his body. This made Jia Yan feel so uncomfortable that he almost had no energy to think about other things. The feeling of these ant bites was that he felt the changes in every cell or the growth of every cell during the body's reorganization process. You know, this is related to changes in the body for dozens of kilometers, so the feeling of ant bites appears in a large area, turning into indescribable pain. Jia Yan is such a tenacious person that he can hardly hold on. In an instant, Jia Yan felt that he had no extra energy in his mind and had no choice but to let his mind control the evolution direction of his body as much as possible. Mutation, every process, is a huge improvement for Jia Yan. It's just that after reaching the galaxy level, these improvements that originally relied only on instinct to move forward can no longer keep up with his strength. If Jia Yan is still unconscious and lets the body's instincts carry out transformation regardless of the improvement, then the effect of improvement is likely to make him dissatisfied. Therefore, Jia Yan's subconscious may have woken up in this midterm, allowing him to abandon his instinctive improvement and use his own consciousness to improve. In this way, for Jia Yan, his improvement will become under his control, at least he will not go too far. Having said all this, I just want to express that Jia Yan's promotion this time is really extremely fortunate. Of course, it's never easy. At least he was used to this kind of thing. Last time, I used all my feet to self-destruct, which allowed me to escape. But this time, I have to find a way to prevent the past from happening again. After all, the possibility of encountering Domain Lord level creatures again is still very high. Big, because this is the central star region of the Milky Way where there are as many Domain Lords as dogs. Jia Yan has been thinking that his last battle was definitely not just an isolated case. There may be many encounters with Domain Masters in the future. If there is another Territory Lord, even if his mutation this time allows his feet to regenerate, will he have to use his feet again to escape? That would be too cowardly and passive. The more important problem is that this time it is because of the mutation. According to Jia Yan's estimation, the next mutation will at least be promoted to the Domain Lord level, but his current strength is only reaching the intermediate galaxy level. The next step is to reach the Domain Lord level. According to Jia Yan's own conservative estimate, it will not take a few years to reach it. So during this process, if he encounters a Domain Lord creature and blows up his own foot, won't he lose his foot for many years? That's not possible. Jia Yan's feet are his main combat weapons. If he loses them, his strength will be greatly reduced. If he encounters a person of the same level who is not weak, he may have to fight. Die. So I have to find a way to fundamentally solve the problem of the Territory Lord asking me to explode my feet when he comes. Jia Yan used his brain. In fact, the solution doesn't take much time to think about at all. When dealing with the Territory Lord, it is almost impossible to escape without exploding organs like feet. Since the feet cannot be exploded, other organs can only be used. Jia Yan was trying to figure out which of his organs could be used for self-destruction. This must be an organ that doesn't have much effect, but is relatively large, at least as big as a foot, and then has the effect of self-destruction. Wing. First, Jia Yan thought about the parts of his mosquito organs that were of little use now. That's wings. As a mosquito, Jia Yan's wings had always allowed him to fly when he was weak. He even fought with his wings when he was in a relatively strong state. But as the strength of a strong person reaches higher and higher, these wings become more and more useless and useless. However, this kind of biological shape is determined by genes. It is impossible for him to change it himself. So now he has the intention to move his wings. Transform it into a tool suitable for bursting out your own yin and yang dao explosive power, used to block the enemy, or even self-destruct to kill the enemy. Okay, I decided on wings, but there are only 2 wings. The last time a domain lord came to chase him, I used 6 feet to hinder his pursuit. Now I only found 2, isn't it almost? There are also tentacles. Yes, my tentacles, when they were weak, were almost my ears and eyes. But now, they seem to be of little use, and the length of the tentacles is not short at all, comparable to the root of the foot will explode by itself, and the effect will probably not be bad. The tentacles are used as tools for self-destruction, and for Jia Yan, there is nothing he would be reluctant to part with. After all, this tentacle is really useless. Next, where else? Tail needle. Although the tail needle is an attack direction that I evolved after I became stronger, I still find that it has no good features. I might as well make it something that self-destructs, so that I can have a way to escape opportunity, and the tail needle is on the back. It can even be modified and turned into a needle that can be launched. After contacting an object, it will then self-destruct. Wouldn't this effect be better? Jia Yan thought a lot, and suddenly felt inspired. Ever since, within the subspace, this mutating giant mosquito began to make its own adjustments. Slowly, he could feel that those stinging places were exactly where he was mutated. Ever since, from the beginning, he slowly made his body more suitable for the current battle. This mutation can be said to have been carefully created by Jia Yan himself, and the future effects will not be too bad. But he didn't know that in the starry sky outside, Edisha, whom he had entrusted to protect him, was doing her best to protect Jia Yan in the subspace. Your Excellency, are you here to negotiate with me about the star level as they said? You are actually just a primary star creature. I don't even know whether I should cry or laugh. The little light and shadow mosquitoes faced off against a group of super masters in a normal space. Some of these masters have reached the stellar level, and of course, they are the ones facing Edissa. The others are at least at the venerable level. For a small team going out to search, having a star-level expert in charge is already considered a good core. But judging from the attitude shown by Edisha, it was actually a little unhappy with this stellar-level creature, which was only the beginning of a star. I don't think it's worthy of its appearance. Humph, little intelligent program, how dare you look down on me? But I know that ordinary intelligent programs, even if they have a certain degree of anthropomorphism, dare to say such words. It means that you are definitely not a small and powerful creature, so I forgive you for looking down upon me. The stellar-level powerhouse who talked to Edisha was indeed a stellar-level being. He was looked down upon by an intelligent program, but he was not angry at all. Of course, I am absolutely unhappy, because being looked down upon by an intelligent program that cheated me is like being looked down upon by a computer to the creatures in this starry sky. It is simply a slap in the face. Fortunately, the other party is not an impulsive strong person. And the more arrogant this little intelligence is, the more nervous he becomes. Just like what he said, a smart program is a smart program. The intelligence, or arrogance, shown by Edissa definitely means she has a certain amount of confidence to say such things. In fact, Adisha certainly has her own confidence. His master is a galaxy-level creature, even a being who killed a mid-level galaxy creature of the same level and escaped under the nose of a domain lord creature. With such a master, it faced a when it comes to stellar-level creatures, why can't we be more arrogant? This is why Adisha has confidence in this stellar creature. The other party really got it right. But of course, what the other party didn't expect was that Adisha, the owner, actually had little fighting power now. Fortunately, he was calmed down by Adisha. Haha, if you are discerning, okay, let's talk about it now. Come on, let's talk about how you found this place first. Adisha smiled faintly and asked the other party's question very arrogantly. Smart sir, make no mistake, we are asking you questions now, not you asking us questions. The star-level creature on the other side felt that it was about to explode. He wanted to ask this intelligent being, but he was asked in return. In fact, he didn't know that this was Adisha's delaying strategy. For him, as long as he could delay time, of course he would ask more and more questions. But the other party doesn't know. If you don't tell me what you are investigating, how can I tell you about my affairs? Also, I am also thinking about the investigation situation before you came here. If you don't tell me, how can I combine my ideas with you? Let's talk about it. Adisha was actually very confident. Well, that makes sense. Okay, let me tell you. After the other party was startled, he felt a little bit involved by Adisha. But in general, he felt that he was right. Regardless of whether Adisha was the cause of the death of that stellar being, he did not believe that a mere intelligent light and shadow could kill a stellar being. Strength, so he thought it would be fine to explain it clearly to the intelligence himself, and then ask the intelligence about the information in his hands later. After all, intelligence is intelligence, and some intelligences are designed to be like this. Only by understanding all the information can they be able to have conversations or something like that. That's it. We received a request from a distant star field to investigate an outsider. This star-level creature began to talk to Adisha. The words he said made Adisha stare at the eyes of light and shadow creatures all the time. Those eyes were full of astonishment. It turns out that I deceived them and got some useful information. It seems that the bastard territory lord who injured the master still refuses to give up and wants to cause trouble for the master. Adisha was a little depressed. The enemy her master provoked this time was really too powerful, and she didn't have any ideas to give. But even if you can't give it, you can still give some help. At least it will help the master and delay the enemy's arrival. In fact, Adisha already has an attack power that can kill all living creatures at the moment. Because it holds many subspace explosives. If it were triggered now, all the creatures present, including the elementary star creature that was talking to Adisha, would die. So for Adisha, he didn't actually pose much danger. But the dangerous thing is that the master still hasn't come out of seclusion, and he doesn't know how long it will take for him to come out. Therefore, the main position now is not to kill, but to delay as much time as possible. Reborn as an interstellar giant mosquito. Author, Bulletin U. Chapter 1913. This means that Adisha must not be killed. This is why we are here, and it is also the reason why the last friend of mine who came here died, and the partner who managed a planet with me, died here, and why did it attract the attention of other parties? This Your Excellency Light and Shadow Intelligence, I hope you are not the person we are looking for. After the other party finished speaking, he softly pointed at the key point of this eye's intelligent light and shadow program. No one is a fool. When this stellar creature was talking to Adisha, he slowly discovered that every detail of the other party's affairs must be investigated clearly and asked clearly. This is not delaying time or doing something. Well, this is definitely a problem. But he didn't dare to point it out, because if that was the case, then behind this light and shadow intelligence, there might be a galaxy-level being. He was just an elementary creature from a star, and someone would die just by looking at him. How could he dare to point it out? He had long suspected that the star that killed him last time had something to do with the intelligence of light and shadow. Now looking at his behavior, he was almost certain that it had something to do with the intelligence of light and shadow. As for why the other party is delaying time, it's dangerous just to think about it. Therefore, this primary star creature does not have his own Xiaojuju in his heart. In short, this creature, after thinking about it, suddenly became a little perfunctory towards Edisha. Has this elementary star creature seen through my thoughts, or is it planning to call someone? This is not possible. Edisha said goodbye. Because too many words lead to mistakes, it has also learned this ancient saying from the Chinese nation on earth. It's better to leave early, otherwise you will be wrong if you talk too much. But when she left, Edisha didn't really leave, but her small body of light and shadow suddenly disappeared. Huh? This light and shadow intelligence can actually send messages. Could it be that its technology is more powerful than we imagined? Just now, Edisha had been conversing with this elementary star creature, but during the conversation, Edisha revealed her technological level. These creatures who were talking to Edisha all agreed that Edisha's technology was not high enough, at least for their technology, it seemed to be a bit behind. But they never thought that their research on subspace here did not reach the level of Edisha, so as soon as it retracted its light and shadow body, causing the body to disappear in front of all living creatures, the other party was instantly confused. Of course, they also thought about whether the main body of this light and shadow creature was within the subspace or gravitational wave system. However, they had previously investigated the subspace and gravitational wave space for a period of time, but had not gained anything. So, it shows that even if the other party is hiding in these two spaces, it is definitely a very deep place. It means that the technological content of the other party, at least in subspace or gravitational wave space, exceeds theirs. Be careful. Investigate the subspace and gravitational wave space. Go deeper. If you find the place where the light and shadow are, don't make a big fuss or show any hostility. I just want to know the other party's technological level. Of course. If there is any danger, don't resist, surrender directly, otherwise we will not be able to survive a crisis that can kill even a star-level creature. This primary star creature gave instructions to his subordinates. As a leader, the judgment he made at this time was relatively correct. Because the enemy is very mysterious, if they start attacking them again, they will definitely be at a disadvantage with the enemy's strength being able to kill a star. Their technology is higher, but the problem is that in the galaxy, it is still the time for the strong to support the world. No matter how powerful their technology is, they will definitely have no advantage when facing a strong person or weapon that can kill a star, and they may even be killed. If this guy is a galaxy-level existence mentioned in the investigation, then the trouble and danger will be even greater, but I guess he won't be a galaxy-level strongman. How can a galaxy-level strongman need to slowly discuss it with us? This star-level creature doesn't really believe that the strange phenomenon that occurred here was caused by a galaxy-level being. After all, there are actually not that many galaxy-level powerhouses, let alone such low-key ones. There seems to be only one big difference between stellar-level beings and galaxy-level beings, but the gap in strength is likely to be huge compared to the gap between stellar-level and semi-star-level beings, or even the gap between venerable-level beings. The way a star-level being looks at a galaxy-level being is like seeing a god. I even heard that in the center of the Milky Way, there is a relatively terrifying race. The newborn children are the venerable level, and the slightly older ones are the semi-star level. The star level is almost everywhere, but the existence of the galaxy level is still he is the god of this race. With just one order, even the star level will die. This shows how terrifying the galaxy level is. If they are a galaxy level, they should not hide, even if they kill everyone here. People, You won't swallow your anger like this when you leave, right? This star-level creature is quite certain about his own judgment. How could a galaxy-level person tolerate them all this time in front of his eyes? Search them here and there, and kill them all with just one slap. Of course, this star's guess is relatively accurate, and ordinary galaxy-level people would not do this. Even if Jia Yan himself had his own consciousness, he might not tolerate a group of weak people searching for him in the outside world. Even though Jia Yan is still a relatively calm person in many cases, he is actually a true supremacist of the strong, and he is not a temperament that can swallow his anger. Just look at his past behavior style. If he were awake now, he would probably come up with a slap, kill these creatures, and then leave. But the problem is, Jia Yan is not awake. Poof. 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 Puff puff puff. Deep in the subspace, a cocoon-like event was being carried out desperately by a huge spaceship that was much smaller than the cocoon. The cocoon and spaceship, which were originally at 3 or 4 degrees, can no longer be in such a shallow place. The outside investigation team, although their technology is not very outstanding, is after all a powerful technology in this starry sky. If they really activate full power of investigation energy, it is really possible for them to investigate in 3 or 4 degrees. It would be a bit troublesome then, so Edisha pushed the cocoon with the sound of beating heart into the deep subspace. It's 5 degrees. Forget it. Pushing it further, the Edisha may not be able to dock normally. Not to mention the waste of energy, it may also cause problems with the ship's hull. As for the owner's cocoon, it should be at 5 degrees. There's no problem. Edisha wiped away the non-existent sweat. Then, it stood around the cocoon and kept looking around. It has been lying to the outside world in order to delay time and let Jia Yan come out of seclusion. Now it is pushing Jia Yan's cocoon into the 5th dimension because it feels that there are signs of life in the cocoon, and the defense of the cocoon is obviously a level stronger than before. Otherwise, no matter how worried it is about the outside world, nor dare to push the cocoon to the 5th dimension of subspace. Fortunately, there is nothing wrong with silkworm cocoons. The heart is beating very hard. The master's new life this time must be very, very powerful, much stronger than before. Haha, now that the master is about to embark on the path of a domain lord, will the former Light and Shadow Senior see that he will also do the same? Do you feel happy? Aditha laughed out loud. Its intelligence is actually inherited from the predecessor of Light and Shadow. Let alone the predecessor of Light and Shadow, it is not really a life. Even if it is still a life. To be honest, its life has actually been transferred to Edissa. Therefore, Edisha's happiness is no different from the happiness of the senior Light and Shadow. It has inherited all the memories of the other party. But the problem is, the information I just heard is that the outside investigation team is really looking for the master. The domain master even took it seriously and notified the surrounding starry sky. This is very troublesome. A domain lord is so angry, the master is indeed a troublemaker. Edisha is also helpless about Jia Yan's ability to cause trouble, because she has been with Jia Yan for so long and is very familiar with Jia Yan's ability to cause trouble despite his seemingly calm temperament. The same is true now. If a creature that has reached the galaxy level wants to live an ordinary life in the Milky Way, no one will mess with you at all. Even the territory lord creature will not just go to a galaxy level creature. After all, the other party may have a friend of the territory lord, or a galaxy level alliance, and they will attack the territory lord's creatures together. Even if it is the territory lord, it may not be easy for him to go. But things are so funny. Jia Yan has friends who are domain lord creatures, and he also has a galaxy level alliance. However, he offends a domain lord and then hunts him down. This made the Edisha very helpless. She knew that Jia Yan would cause trouble and offend people, but she never expected that the energy circle just now would inexplicably offend a domain lord. It had nothing to say, because Jia Yan seemed to have done nothing wrong, yet he was inexplicably hunted down by two galaxy-level creatures, and then provoked the Domain Lord. Now that I have escaped to this strange starry sky, someone still comes to my door. What is this? Master, please wake up quickly, otherwise I won't be able to bear it alone. Adisha wanted to cry. A star-level creature is fine now, but if we wait any longer, a galaxy-level creature will come, and Adisha won't be able to withstand it just by relying on those explosive meteorite materials. I don't know if it was because of receiving Adisha's request that her heart beat faster. Poof, poof, poof. Hey, Master, have you received it? Don't beat your heart so fast. Don't be in a hurry. I will try to delay it as much as possible. Adisha seemed to know that this was Jia Yan's act of comforting it. Knowing that Jia Yan was awake, it was no longer afraid. Let's not talk about how Adisha continued to delay the situation, but let's just say that the person who caused this heartbeat was indeed Jia Yan. In the cocoon, Jia Yan felt the sounds of the outside world in pain. Although Adisha is a creature of light and shadow, the words she speaks in subspace are also supported by technology, so she can make sounds. Although Jia Yan does not have any hearing organs being born now, he already has a faint brainwave power that can be released outside the body to feel things outside. So he heard Adisha's words. So, in order to let the intelligent light and shadow know that he understood its situation, he immediately operated his body to make his heart beat faster. Next, he comforted Adisha. Humph, the outside world really came to investigate? And it was sent by the Domain Lord? I didn't go to trouble him, but he actually came to trouble me. Jia Yan sneered. He knew that he had offended the other party badly last time, but he never thought that even after he had fled to this starry sky, this guy would pursue him across a large area of stars. This is going too far and is completely unacceptable to Jia Yan. If I have strength in the future, this Domain Lord creature will definitely die. Jia Yan was very angry, especially when he thought that in order to avoid the pursuit of this Domain Lord creature, he even lost all his legs, and now it was very troublesome to recover. He was even more annoyed. That guy was lucky. He had lost all of his legs after chasing him. Now he was still chasing and investigating. He was able to investigate this place even though he was so far away. I just wanted him to die, Jia Yan. There is nothing else to say. Jia Yan feels that if he has the strength to compete with this guy, he will definitely not let go of the opportunity. However, the problem is that even if he mutates successfully, he is still far behind the Domain Master creature. Therefore, Jia Yan was angry for a while and had no idea of revenge immediately. At most, just write it down. My heart has been repaired. Next, the main components of the body, even the feet, can start to work a little bit. Jia Yan silently carried out his own restructuring and repair. For him now, the mutation process, apart from the pain, is like playing a pinching game. Of course, it cannot change too much. He can really operate anything that does not affect the appearance of the mosquito. For example, to change the hardness of a certain place, or to make a certain organ slightly stronger. Although these changes are very troublesome and may fail, overall, Jia Yan definitely has many advantages over others in their process of becoming stronger. Of course, because of this change, he will also have a lot of weaknesses, such as certain organs or parts of the appearance that Jia Yan doesn't pay attention to, and the defense will become too weak. However, compared with the advantages, these weaknesses still outweigh the disadvantages, so Jia Yan is eager to follow them and is not ready to give up on his transformation process. Fortunately, overall, the process was good. Poof, 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 poof. The beating of his heart became stronger after Adisha spoke to him. Jia Yan was actively speeding up his investigation and mutation process.